How about now?
I don't know because I'm on the phone. My phone
Oh
cuts you off.
man. Well, thank you so much for calling me. I did make a
All right.
change to my setup. I was hearing it fine, but that didn't mean it was going out. But thank you. And
Um. Anyhow, have you heard the commercials
which ones?
that Katie Hobbs is putting out?
Some of them I have.
Boy,
Yeah.
she is the biggest liar I ever seen in my life. Her and that bunch of hoodlums.
It's kind of lies in politics, and I don't like the feeling that they go hand in hand, they all do it. They don't. They don't. Trump tells a lot of hyperbole for sure. I don't know about out and out lies. You're right. I think she misrepresents the truth. She does, and her direction.
Well,
I think her actions are what we just need to look at. What has she done for the last 3.5 years? And
yeah,
nothing to help us that I can see. Nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, the one that really upsets me is that woman, that fucking, excuse my French, that
Hmm.
farmer,
Yeah. Which one?
the one about he grows the peppers.
I'm not sure I've seen that one.
Yeah, he says that Katie Hobbs has done everything to get our water and
Oh,
all this other stuff. He's standing out in the middle of his fields with a little boy planting seeds.
well, and there may be some truth to that. Maybe she has allowed some legislation with water go through. I mean, quite possible. She's not going to be 100% awful, but there's going to be enough awful out there that she's not representing us. But you're right. They're going to highlight, and that's politicians do that. They'll highlight the things that they do well and the strength that they do well, and the things that's most, embraced by the populace. Water's embraced by everybody, so she'll take credit for that. She's not gonna embrace school choice. She hates school choice.
Well,
She's
you
not
know,
gonna
it's not
embrace
just
closed
school
borders.
choice.
She hates closed borders. She was
Well, I know.
with Biden on that whole thing.
Oh yeah, well, she's um, I don't know where she comes off thinking that everybody wants it.
Yeah.
I don't see how anybody in Tucson over there in that Pima County area or any of that could like what she's doing. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah, what she's doing overall, but as far as her commercial on water, she probably is helping with on water. As far as I know, I don't know, but it would make sense that she is. But she's not going to talk
And
about the border. Doug Ducey put up some temporary barriers in Yuma finally to fill the gaps
yeah,
in the wall because they never finished it. Biden
right.
canceled all the contracts. So he put up storage containers, welded them in place so nobody could get through the open gates. She
Hmm.
took them down.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so that's her idea of border security. She's,
Well, it hasn't happened in her backyard. Wait until something that really happens to her by one of those knuckleheads,
yeah.
and then everything's going to change. It amazes me. They have all the security around them,
Hmm.
but they're not. How would you say normal human beings?
No,
Well, you and I, we don't have a security team running around us.
they
You know,
they want to
but
get elected, and to them, the illegals coming into the country were helping in that endeavor. They were helping because they were registering to vote. So,
but anyhow, I
yeah.
just thought I'd let you know that you didn't have any sound on YouTube
Man,
because
I appreciate it,
you know.
buddy, and
Well,
hopefully I got that. In fact, I got a note that it's taken care of. But check it out. Make sure.
okay, I'll
Hey,
let you know. I'll text you.
thank you, sir. Take care.
Bye
Bye
now.
bye. Yeah, I appreciate that. It was working for me in the studio, just wasn't working out there. Getting back to Snap, um, 4 million people have lost access to SNAP food assistance in the state of Arizona. Now, and I don't know if this article was put out there to uh, give kudos to Donald Trump for taking away fraud and that kind of stuff, or if it was out to those poor people, how are they going to eat? Of course, the big beautiful bill came out, and that's what required following the rules that were always there, by the way. But Arizona, its SNAP caseload was cut more than half. That's why it's more than half. It's just kind of amazing that half the people on SNAP, half the people out there, didn't qualify. Well, the reason it collapsed, the big beautiful bill, the Department of Economic and Security adopted a strict reading of the able-bodied adult without dependents. So they read it. It was a strict reading about it, a strict reading, very literal. That get your act together and work SNAP as it was intended and as it's legal and within the confines of the law. Hard for the left sometimes to figure that one out. I don't know why, but they do. And Ketanji Brown, and you can't forget this, a Supreme Court justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, is obviously against what the Republicans are voting for, and one of her comments, one of her dissensions, because she lost. I don't remember the case on the Supreme Court, but she was on the minority side of things, and she said something about the fact that the conservatives were too literal, meaning they paid attention to the words too much and not how people felt, probably. She's very much a believer we should do the things that the people want. That's what the people in the legislature do. Is do that. The Supreme Court and all the courts, for some reason it's changing, but all the courts are supposed to interpret it based on constitutional law and the other laws and make sure everything's constitutional and that we're following the rules. She is totally different on that. More than just liberals, just totally different on that. Well, that's what happened to SNAP. Strict reading of the updated able-bodied adult. And basically it says if you're an able-bodied adult without dependents, that you're not in the pool. They'll help you with jobs. They'll help you with a lot of things, write a resume. There's a lot of programs out there to help people get a job. Final rule was issued on December 17, 2024 by the USDA, Food and Nutrition Service. The work requirement changes from Fiscal Responsibility Act of 2023, which raised the age ceiling and tightened time limits, on how long you can take it and all that. But it cut out half. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act on the regulatory framework extended the monthly hour requirement and restricted states' ability to waive compliance in areas with high unemployment. Yeah, so half of them got off of it. See, the response illustrates how quickly participation can fall when states' agencies embrace the most restrictive interpretation. Again, we go back to interpretation available to them. I think the Trump administration is just tightening down on read the rules, follow them. It's strict, they call that strict interpretation. So they limited the range of recognized job training and education programs, tightened documentation rules for work hours, and signaled to county offices that exemptions should be granted sparingly. So I didn't even know that exemptions were granted at all at state level. But it was. I haven't heard a lot more about it. The legal architecture behind the participation drops rests in two layers. First, Fiscal Responsibility Act of 23, whose final rule from MNS formalized, expanded time limits and narrowed exemption categories at the federal level. Second, the Big Beautiful Bill guidance is a consolidation on the USD's information hub. Together, these documents direct states to apply the 80-hour monthly work, training, or volunteer threshold to wider populations, adults 18 through 64 who do not have dependents. And so if you're able-bodied, young and healthy, you're not going to get SNAP program. And apparently they were lining up for SNAP. And it's so much different now, the programs. It basically looks like a credit card. It's a credit card, and there's not quite the limitations. When it was food stamps, we had guidance. I would say we, I worked in the convenience store business, and there was guidance on what was and wasn't available. I don't think sodas were available back then, if I remember right. I mean, it was like, hey, man, this is for nutrition. So food items. The biggest thing I found were people were always trying to find a way to buy cigarettes with food stamps, which was a constant argument. I imagine that one still goes on today. I hope they don't allow cigarettes. A Minnesota city is sued for demanding that a Christian preacher pay vendor fee to hold pro-life signs. Which I can't believe that this even comes to a law. So I can't believe they're going to so obviously discriminate like this. But it was a municipality in Minnesota charged an open air Christian preacher with criminal trespass for standing in a public parking lot. Obviously, there's more to the story than that. The federal lawsuit was filed last Tuesday on behalf of Brian Conwell. Accused officials of placing an unconstitutional price tag on free speech by forcing a peaceful speaker to buy a commercial license. Mark Trammell, CEO for Center for American Liberties, who's taking up the lawsuit, said the First Amendment doesn't come with a price tag. Government officials cannot force Americans to buy a license before they peacefully express their beliefs on public property. If they can silence Brian today, they can silence anyone tomorrow. Obviously, Brian's the preacher. Lawsuits against the city of Benson, Minnesota. And here's the claim. City police and officials violated constitutional rights of Conwell, an open-air street preacher and vocal advocate against abortion. That's the issue, is against abortion. Conwell, Mark Conwell, he normally holds signs in a public area and waits silently. At first I thought, and we had this in Yuma years ago. I remember on downtown Main Street, there was a street preacher with a megaphone, which was kind of disruptive and loud. I never said a word, but I don't remember how much time he was out. It was for weeks. I guess on and off he was always out there. I don't see anyone doing that now. This guy held up a sign, speaking only to those who approached him and engaged in conversation. The lawsuit stipulates he blocks no one, threatens no one, sells nothing, and he asks only to be left alone to speak. Now, he chose to stand in a city parking lot during a farmer's market. There was a farmer's market going on, much like we have downtown at times. There'll be a farmer's market. They'll block off the street downtown and have that. He was in something similar. And he was in that, and it's free and open to the public. City officials, and there was no charge to get into the farmer's market. It wasn't one of the fees. He was just there. City officials, please ask that he leave or pay $20 to speak. Yeah. They claim that they asserted exclusive use of the public property when he refused to pay a vendor fee, non-commercial speech. They cited him for criminal trespass. Issued a second citation when he returned 2 weeks later. And now he faces 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine for each citation. And here's what the officer told him, allegedly. The more you come back, the more citations you're going to get. Well, I guess it's also on the videos. Officer had a camera, video camera. He was holding a sign that says, abolish abortion to the glory of God. And he asked why his activism is a problem. And he did the same thing the prior week. Well, he said, well, legally I can be here. And that's the whole thing. So I can't be cited. So unless there's a crime being committed, why am I being cited? Well, the officer that wrote the ticket, they say expressed confusion. I don't know. I didn't see the video, but he says, the officer said, to be honest, man, I want a clarification too. That's not a strong assertion. Apparently sounds like he was directed to do it. There are crimes of trespass and crimes of disorderly conduct, but also you have your First Amendment right. So we've got to try to figure out here doing it. He's the officer's not even sure. I don't think that bodes well for the city or the state when the officer's confused. Lawsuit alleges these actions constitute severe First Amendment violations, including infringement on free speech, free exercise of religion, viewpoint discrimination, unconstitutional fees on speech. And they put in there also about the broader push by lawmakers and legal groups to protect street preachers from police overreach. Congressional Republican urged the U.S. Supreme Court to take up similar cases involving Richard Hershey, a Christian evangelist who was threatened with arrest for handing out pamphlets on a public sidewalk in Louisiana. Madison Colombo is a writer that put this all together. And there was also a mention that he was not near any abortion clinics. He was not near anything that was going to cause a disruption, but he got fined. Sounds like the officers were a little confused at the same time. Burger King's made major changes. I don't know if you've gone to fast food restaurants. I did this weekend. I took the grandkids, only two of them, the Terrorist and Gray Skull, to not Burger King. I took them out to McDonald's. After church, we went to church, and they go into the rooms for 4-year-olds and 9-year-olds, separate things, which they absolutely love to go, church for the city. They enjoy it. In fact, my 9-year-old granddaughter, Caitlin, the Terrorist, she has a boyfriend that's in that room. Yeah. Seems like a great kid and great family. She couldn't be in better hands. I don't know how 9-year-olds date or have boyfriends, but apparently they do. They have boyfriends, I guess. But anyway, we went to McDonald's afterwards. Had a great time with two grandkids in the foothills. I say in the foothills they don't have playgrounds. Apparently, the retirees don't care for the playgrounds, but that's where we went. We spent some time there. So the prices were cheaper, I thought. I think it was like $6. It was $6 for a Happy Meal, a little over $6. So I researched it on what that same Happy Meal would cost 26 years ago. It was $3, which is a little bit more than the inflation rate. So not much, though. So it's not as high as I thought initially, and I think some of the prices have come down. A lot of the restaurants, fast food restaurants and everything, are trying to re-image themselves because of the high prices. You can't go to McDonald's and get a meal, like a Big Mac and a meal and all that stuff. What, $10 to $13 or something? Which seems aggressive, A quarter pounder with cheese is like $6-7 or something. It's kind of high. Well, they're all going through it right now. Burger King's going through it. And the Burger King representative said earlier this year, we opened our phone lines and invited people to share their honest feedback, and they did. One of the biggest takeaways was our guests want to feel welcome when they walk in, know their order will be made the way they asked, and have confidence that if something isn't right, we'll make it right. That's their takeaways of asking the questions. They're investigating as to like, what do our customers want? Amazing. They want customer service. At a time that I think a lot of these restaurants, and McDonald's is one of them, have gotten away from the customer. They've made it completely automated. You order by phone, and I have a phone app. I will occasionally buy something, not very often, but occasionally pick something up. I order it on the phone app before I leave even. I may be 5-10 minutes away, and I'll just order it, put it on there, and then when I get there, I just give them a number, and I go. It's just very... And if you go inside, and a lot of the Burger Kings in town, if you go inside, there's nobody at the counters. If you stand there long enough and wave your arm or something and say, hey, they'll come over and wait on you. It's uncommon. They have automated things out, in the lobby, like big screens or computers where you just touch what you want, enter your credit card number, get a number, and then you can pick it up, and you really don't see anybody. Well, that they're further and further away from customers. Well, obviously it's affecting them. They wouldn't be asking, but Burger King announced in a news release. They said the Your Way Champion is a re-imaged restaurant manager role designed to empower restaurant leaders and put the guest experience first. Well, I think the guest experience is the furthest thing from their minds. Recently, now, I was kind of surprised when I went to the Foothills McDonald's, which is totally different than the in town. I mean, they look the same. They have the same kiosk and everything where you can go up and order yourself. But there's actually a physical person standing there. And I think it's an age thing. Yeah, the average patron out of the Foothills is not going to use the kiosk. They're older. They're not going to use the kiosk. So there was just a person standing there. I didn't get in line. I just went to the kiosk and punched it in myself. Burger King said the brand will not only continue to remake it on the spot, but they'll offer the guests next Whopper free of charge. And that's if they're putting out a promise that if a Whopper, Burger King, signature, doesn't meet the customer's expectation. Now, I don't know what that is. It doesn't give any specifics. Doesn't need to they'll offer the guests next Whopper free of charge. I have not tried that. So if you do that, if you go into Burger King, order Whopper, and you go and say, I am unhappy with this Whopper, it doesn't meet my expectations, let me know what happens. But it's going to be redeemable with the QR code. They're going to give you some of the QR code. I don't know. That's not going to work in the Foothills, too. A lot of the clientele wouldn't know what a QR code is out in the Foothills. This is about bringing Have It Your Way in the life of every restaurant every day. I mean, I'm wondering how that works for them. Giving away free hamburgers if it doesn't meet your expectation. I applaud it. I do. I applaud it. I think, okay, you're paying attention to the customer. I wonder if that's going to give them a positive. The Your Way Champion puts hospitality front and center, while the Whopper guarantee gives guests confidence will stand behind our flagship product, being served just the way you want it. Together, they're about earning trust, one visit at a time. Burger King announcements of the changes drew various reactions from social media users. Listening to your guest and acting on their feedback is what builds long-term loyalty. Somebody wrote that on LinkedIn, but if you listen to social media, you're going to get a lot of crap on there. I mean, it's like some social media people are just trolls looking to say something negative, but maybe. One person wrote, love to see a brand that actually listens to a guest. Your Way Champion role, Whopper guarantee, is a brilliant move. This is how you raise the bar. Shout out to a couple of champions. There's a lot of positives. Let me see if there's disappointments. I know there was. A couple other social media expressed disappointments. There we go. Burger King is the worst place to work. Well, that was for somebody that works there. I've been there 7.5 years, and I'm a breakfast coordinator. I make a $16.35 an hour, and they refuse to give me a raise, which is bull crap. They need to look up and see who makes $16.35 an hour. $16.35 an hour. That's got to be California or something. Well, in Arizona, the minimum wage is like $15 an hour, but they've gone up. National minimum wage, I think, is still $7.25. We don't make that much and work way too hard to be doing all that. I've noticed this company really likes the customers more than their own people. It's sad. So that's the negatives they got. Well, no, they need to take care of the customer, and you can't do it with the people that wrote those things. They're not going to be the employees that make the company look good. And it says, many people love the Whopper, America's favorite burger, the brand's most beloved item. I don't care about the service. I just really like the Whopper. Somebody actually wrote that. I can understand it because we've taken service out of the picture for a lot of people. I appreciate good service. I do. I don't ask for it a lot. When I go to the food stores, I use the self-service line. I don't go to the front of the line. To the clerks that have to ring it up. I just do it myself. It's a lot faster, I guess. I prefer it. It's just quick. So I'm not expecting a lot. I mean, McDonald's, if I had my choice between the kiosk and someone standing at the counter, I obviously went to the kiosk just out of habit. So I think they've been taken out. If you remember, I don't know if you do, but when Burger King started to have it your way many years ago, I was in high school in the 70s. The have it your way was special orders. Special orders don't upset us type thing was their lingo. And that you could order Burger King, but hold the pickle or extra cheese, whatever it is. They would make it to order. Where at the time, and I know this for a fact because I had a girlfriend at the time that we'd go to McDonald's. She says, I want the McDonald's, but I don't want the pickle or the mustard, and I want grilled onions. We would have to wait 10 minutes for that. You had to fill out a little slip of paper, and it took a while to get that. Of course, we know it was not set under the lamp for 5 hours. It was, it's fresh. So Burger King came out with Have It Your Way, where they made it right there. They stick it in a little microwave, warm up the patty, throw it on. And literally, they have a microwave. That's what they do. And put it together the way you want. That's what their notoriety was. Have it your way. I guess they lost that, and they're trying to re-grab it. I don't think they do it with those employees that they're paid $16.35 an hour, and are complaining that they can't get a raise. Somehow, I think they're not the best employee. AOC roasted over the defense bill claim, and lawmakers tell her to stop the Jew hatred. And this is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, the House passed the National Defense Bill authorization. That was last week, which merges part of our military and the Israeli Defense Forces. And she distorted it a little bit. It was passed through the House under the National Defense Authorization Act. Calls for deeper U.S.-Israel defense integration through expanded cooperation on military technology, supply chains, research, artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, and joint exercises. Now, we've been working with Iran. We've been working with Israel, with the Iran issue, Hezbollah and all that. We've been in coordination with them. In fact, that, a few months ago, during that 10-day strike on Iran, we worked, very close with Iran. Israel, Iran. We were bombing Iran. We were working with Israel to get that all done. They've been a partner in that. And they share a lot of information. They do. That's part of the reason that Donald Trump took that different airplane in Turkey. When he was visiting Turkey for a NATO meeting, he had to switch planes. He went back to an older plane, not the new Air Force One. He went back to the old one because there was a threat that they were going to blow it up or something. And Turkey borders Iran, so and that came from Israel. The Israel intelligence figured that out, so they swapped it out. They put it in a different plane to make them safer, and came back. And I've read that they're doing more safety issues on the new Air Force One. They're upgrading some of the safety issues on it. And because the new Air Force One was not built as Air Force One, so it didn't have a lot of the defensive mechanisms that the old ones did. I guess I don't know what they are. I don't think any of us should know, except the military types. Well, Ocasio-Cortez complained about it. She says the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, includes a provision to merge parts of our military with the IDF. This amendment is an existential threat to American sovereignty and democracy. Every member of Congress must vote no. So obviously she must have glanced at it, but a threat to American sovereignty and democracy. It says we're going to merge parts of our military, which was not really. We were going to more, do things with them like we do with a lot of different countries, and that's joint exercises and share some intelligence and cybersecurity and supply chains and stuff. It's a cooperation, and it's explained in there that it's an expanded cooperation on stuff. She's kind of like the old Jane Curtin on Saturday Night Live. When Jane Curtin would say something obnoxious on Saturday Night Live, they were going to do, that something was strange was happening, and Jane Curtin would straighten around and says, that's just not true. This is what it means. And she goes, never mind. I see AOC like that. She's the new Jane Curtin almost. Lee Zeldin, the Environmental Protection Agency administrator, claimed, he says the false accusing the Congresswoman of misrepresenting the bill. Instead of merging the part of your brain that hates Jews with the part of your brain concocting your daily lies, you should try merging the part of your brain responsible for reading bill text with the part of your brain responsible for critical thinking. Good for Lee Zeldin. I guess that puts it out pretty straight. I don't think he's a friend of AOC. Mike Lahr, Republican out of New York. Stop stroking Jew hatred. Good grief. You are either obtuse or intentionally lying. We are not merging our military with the IDF. Representative Massey introduced an amendment to strip Section 219. I guess he's not a fan of the president right now. 219 was that the section in there that would have the cooperation between Israel and the United States. He wanted to take it out. He said the NDAA will receive a recorded vote tomorrow with Section 219 in it. I'll vote no. Ro Khanna, of course, Democrat out of California, partnered with Massey on the amendment, but it passed. Not the amendment. Khanna wrote on X, we will be continuing on and will not be intimidated by the pro-Israeli lobby. They asked AOC for some comments. None was given. None. I've been paying attention to some of the articles and some of the things out there that talk about the upcoming elections, for the House and the Senate coming up in November. And it's going to become more and more interest now that the primaries are mostly over. And the things I see are on both sides. I see some things that are very encouraging that shows that, if it were taken today, we'd still have we would have 47-53 positive Republicans on the Senate still if it were held today. And of course, this is just one analyzer. This is not locked to anything, but it's interesting. And another one that we would retain majority in the House, which would be wonderful. And then I hear so many others, some that think it's the Democrats going to take both the House and the Senate. And I'm sure we're somewhere in between. I don't know. Historically, the incumbent, historically in the first term, loses the House or the Senate, like in the last 100 years, that's been the case. But not it's a degree of things too. I mean, Obama lost a lot in his first term. I remember 30-40 in the House without gerrymandering. And keep in mind, there was some gerrymandering went on. That was a plus for the Republicans in some of the states. But gerrymandering is just going to help. It's not a guarantee. It just means that you've got more registered Republicans than registered Democrats in some of these districts now. That's not a guarantee that you're going to win. But I think it changed like 17 seats to more for for the Republicans. So I don't know where we stand. I do know that there is a lot of disconnect within the Democrat Party, and I want to talk about that for a little bit. The Democrat Party has more infighting than the Republicans. Now, the Republicans usually have more. I think the Democrats generally are more lockstep. The Republicans seem to be a little off, a little different. If they disagree, they're more vocal about it. Democrats are becoming that with the socialist communist part of the party now is getting more traction. Not so much in the Republicans. I mean, there is the MAGA movement within the Republican Party that primarily is accepted. I mean, there is, Mike Pence has that organization. I don't remember the name of it now. That's supposed to be the answer, to stop MAGA and to be back to more wishy-washy Republican Party, and it really failed in this primary because I don't think any of the candidates that Mike Pence had supported and put together and did anything much. I mean, MAGA is king right now, and the support for Trump is strong. And it's not a diversion like it is in the Democrat Party. In the Democrat Party, I mean, they literally want to change, want to do away with the Constitution. They want to change it completely to a structure more like a communist country, where you just have one legislature and they pick the president, they pick the judges. Get rid of the judges and the police. I mean, it's just kind of so radical weird. We've got some Democrats speaking against it, which is causing a rift like I've never seen before in the Republican Party. I mean, the Democrat Party. Newt Gingrich spoke about it, and this weekend I looked at something that Gingrich put together, and I pay attention to him. He's been good in the past. He mentioned that the Republicans should win both the House and the Senate and actually gain seats. Now, I haven't heard any other analysts say that. That's Newt Gingrich saying that the House will gain seats in this one because the Democrats are so disconnected and the polls aren't really showing it at this point. I hope he's right. We'll know. But I read this about the Democrat Party, and I don't even know if you know who the chair is. It's Ken Martin. I don't know much about him, but I know he's the chair. Well, right now he's been reported to Human Resources, HR. I'm going to report you to HR. Yeah, he was throwing a phone at a junior aide. I guess that's not accepted. It shouldn't be accepted. And he was in the Washington headquarters, and that happened in July. It's been reported by the New York Times. They put it out there, which I'm sure that makes them cringe a little bit. That's not the news we want. Apparently 5 people were aware or watched it or whatever. And one of the sources that I guess called into the Times said, this is just blanking unacceptable. This is spiraling behavior. And it's a sign of Martin's fraying nerves, Ken Martin's fraying nerves. There were 6 people. I'm sorry, I said 5. 6 people familiar, some of whom witnessed it firsthand. Their accounts differed on how forcefully he threw the phone. Not that they don't differ that he threw the phone. I've never thrown a phone that I know about. I don't remember throwing a phone ever. I don't think it's ever happened. I care too much about the phone. I can't see me getting that excited or angry. I'm going to throw a phone. It landed on the aide's desk while Martin reprimanding the staff. And that caused a formal HR complaint. And that's why we know about it. So Martin, after the aide, I guess, scheduled a period of donor and political calls after the calls. And I don't know. Maybe she gave bad news. Maybe she said I couldn't get anybody. I don't know. Phone didn't hit her. Didn't hit the staffer. Many of them were shaking. You think the people in the pool over there making the phone calls, the phone pool were not shaking. You have the head guy, the chairman, come in, throw the phone at somebody that's on the phones. That's awesome. No, it's not. It's unacceptable. Well, he's got some issues that he's handling. And one of them is what I mentioned with the split in the Democrat Party. You got the socialist communist side, and they seem to be picking up steam. They won New York City mayor and quite a few others things. So they're starting to grow a little bit, and people coming out of the closet and not saying that they're progressive anymore. They're just going all the way socialist communist. We're just going all the way. So he's got that problem. And he's also got the problems with money. According to the Federal Election Commission's records, the committee ended June with $16.3 million in cash and $18.5 million in debt. That's a bad ratio. Not the place. And this is going into the election right now. We got an election coming up in November. They want to dole out a lot of money, so they got these people on the phones, bring me money, and I guess maybe they're not being successful. Maybe they start throwing phones. Republicans, by the way, have $128.5 million in cash, 0 debt. Now, Martin's job, his only job, to win back control of the House and the Senate in the midterms. And he's got history in his favor. And according to the Democrats, they've got Trump in their favor. Trump in their favor because they think that he's a deplorable, and it should be easy. Well, he's throwing phones, so it's not that easy. It's usually a pretty good time for them, including collecting money, you would think. Apparently not. There doesn't sound like it anyway. Let me see, there's a frustrated with the tarnished public image of a party that he plainly loves and has devoted his life to. He has also largely disappeared from public interviews and because of criticism of the party's bungled release of the 24 autopsy. Remember that? I don't blame him for not wanting to do interviews. I mean, how do you explain where the party's going? And I'm sure a lot of the questions are going to be, is Mandani in charge of the party now? Are we doing, because they've got their own manifest out there. It doesn't align itself with mainstream DNC, but it's got Democrats that are supporting an alternate direction, a major alternate, not a small, major. They want to rewrite the Constitution, throw it out. We'll see. They also had to take a loan, according to the New York Post. They took a loan of, I think, $20 million. Yeah, $20 million. Well, actually, it was a line of credit for $20 million, but they drew $15 million immediately. And they're getting a little bit of pushback from that. Like, why are you taking a line of credit? Now, that line of credit used as collateral was the building that they occupy in Washington, D.C. And they said, don't worry about it. It's been done before. Apparently that building has been used for collateral and prior lines of credit 4 other times. So no big deal, according to them. But they seem to be gasping a little bit. Martin defended the committee strategy, saying it raised $154 million from grassroots major donors through June, compared with $95 million during the comparable. But it doesn't look like they have that money in the bank. I mean, if they raised $154 million, it must have been promises and not checks, because they didn't have that much in the bank. They only had $16 million in cash. Said the current DNC has raised the most money of any DNC without the White House in the 198 history of the Democratic Party, according to Martin. But a party is not a savings account. Its purpose is to build power. There, you heard it. It's to build power. Well, he's costing. I mean, he's in stress, and Gingrich said that he's going to lose everything. We'll see. Some of them do. And I had something else here on the party, maybe. I don't see it. Oh, Talrico. I'll talk about him. Okay. Maybe it was Talrico I want to talk about. Talrico, that's James Talrico out of Texas. He's the answers to the Democrats' woes down in Texas. He's running for Senate. He's a candidate for Senate, kind of like Beto O'Rourke, if you remember him. Beto. Yeah, he was the Democrats' answer, going to beat Ted Cruz. He was a really weird guy, from having video of him taking haircuts and eating dirt for nutrition or minerals. Really odd. And they spent $50 million or better. I don't know. It was a big money back then. And 6 years ago, it was Beto. And the Democrats just knew that he was going to wipe Ted Cruz out of the office to take him out. Well, now all their stuff's on James Talrico, and he's as odd in different ways. I mean, he's not normal. Well, he's out there trying to get the vote right now from Hispanics. He's out there talking to Hispanics particularly. And the feeling is that a lot of Hispanics changed to Republican in this last election, particularly in Texas along the border and stuff like that, because Biden destroyed the border, destroyed it, and that happened all over the nation, but particularly in Texas. There's Mimo's restaurants where one of his campaign stops was in a big black campaign bus that says Tel Rico for Texas. BB Valdez was just couldn't wait to see him. And she mentioned for this article, a lot of people, for some reason, especially Hispanics, changed to Republican. Security guards created space for Tel Rico then, and says, I just don't see what the logic was. I mean, for it. I think we see it, and I think it's understood that Texas was getting a brunt of it, Arizona too, but the illegals coming across the border is raising havoc. Costly, expensive. Tel Rico says he wants to be the first Democrat to win a statewide election in Texas since 1994. I didn't realize it's that long in Texas, but 30 years without winning a statewide election for a Democrat. And Texas used to be very Democrat at one time. But now, once consistently Democrats, most had voted for Republican President Donald Trump. Some by a lot. Hispanic voters shifted to the right nationally. Along the stretch of the border he was at right then, he said residents, elected leaders alike tend to point to reasons. The rise in the border crossings and everyday prices. Well, we know the border crossings are taken care of by Trump. It went to net zero for the last 10, 11 months. It's been zero net. But this article said, but not the cost of eggs. He hasn't fixed the cost of eggs. I'm surprised they picked eggs because that is one that was fixed. The cost of eggs has been back to normal, and it was outrageously high. $10, $11 a dozen. Now it's 25 cents an egg. I said, but it's talking about they're putting a thing on the cost of food and everything. Now keep in mind, under Trump, the inflation and the rising has been much less. And yes, it hasn't been zero, almost never is, but it hasn't been zero. It's been greatly reduced. But that's the thing. The damage done during Biden doesn't go away. It doesn't unspool. If it went up 30-40% under Biden, some commodities, they're not going to go down by 30-40%. They're just not going to rise anymore. If you can get it under control or rise at a nominal rate, 3%, which they have, by and large. Some things have gone down, but and most haven't gone up dramatically. I think beef has gone up. And that's a whole different reason. I mean, the shortages and all that. You can't grow the cattle that fast. Tel Rico is a former middle school teacher and a state lawmaker. And they're putting the whole thing on him. But Tel Rico says so many politicians show up at the border to demonize and weaponize. We are doing the opposite. We are showing the beauty of our border communities. I don't know what he means they show up and demonize and weaponize, but okay. He says, let me see, he says he's turning instead to the economy. He's talking about the economy. He says it's rigged to help mega donors. I don't know how the economy helps mega donors, but he'd have to explain that to me. He's criticizing Paxton as a puppet politician for the wealthy. I guess it's easy to throw those things out there, but Paxton has made himself, as the Attorney General for the state. He did a lot and stayed in the news because of it nationally. He says we can't get ahead no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we save, because the system is rigged against it. And it's the doom and gloom from the Democrats as usual. Now, Tel Rico's taken that whole persona of doom and gloom, and it's all rigged and there's nothing you can do. And this goes through some of the numbers and the percentages of the Hispanics and stuff, the article, and some of the attitudes that people are talking to, and they sit and talk to a lot of people, but a lot of it does go back. I mean, they're really hammering the economics, the price of things, and right now they're putting Trump's face on it. But by the end of the article, they're saying, but we like the border like it is. We love ICE. And that's coming from some of the Hispanic community that we love ICE. And, but then there's one guy, Mike Garcia, 76, said he voted for Trump 3 times in a row. But he's more wary. The ones who are killing him, some of them been here in the United States for years and years and got children. And that's talking about ICE. The ones they're killing some. Some of that imagery that the press has been putting out there that they're just killing people, I guess has made an impression on Mike Garcia. He's believing it, that they're just killing him. And they've been here for years. And it put a hesitation in him. He's not sure. And they also mentioned that Paxton's been impeached and that Trump's been impeached. Yes, very political impeachments, but none of them lost jobs. And I think if the Democrats get in, Trump will be impeached another 10 times or so in the next 2 years. They just got a list of things to go after him, and it's just a political tie-up is all it is. And some of the ridiculous things they want to impeach him for is just amazingly stupid. But this Garcia says he doesn't know who he's going to vote for, but I think they're looking for help. I think Trump has got to pull off some stuff just to solidify. Maybe get Iran back and get oil back down. I got some stories about oil. It's amazing how volatile it is. And this article also says that Talrico points him out as a wimpy. As wimpy, probably. Yeah. And he's the one that comes out about the God thing, about God being non-binary. And again, he was a seminary student. He said that on the floor of the Senate, citing Scripture. It wasn't, something he said, with a hot mic. Something he decided he wanted to say. And they say someone point out Ken Paxton shares her values, strong guy, and all that. And Talrico's a wimpy liberal. Yeah, I think so. I think the left is looking real hard for someone that shows masculinity. They tried Tim Walz, didn't work. They tried the Nazi up in Maine, and it was just too much Nazi. They were going to go with Nazi if it was light, Nazi light, but too much. He had too much Nazi. And of course, the border. They need. I guess we don't talk about the border enough. And some of the amazing things that happened on the border by Trump to be able to calm it down. I don't know how many of you saw the Trump speech at the Correspondents' Dinner. I watched it with great interest. I don't think it was his best speech. I liked his rallies more than the speech at the Correspondents' Dinner. It was. I think the rallies are a lot more fun. He was harsh. I mean, he was pretty direct on fake news, pretty direct on what he felt about the Democrats. He doesn't hold back, does he? Which is hilarious. At times, there was a uncomfortable silence in the crowd because of Trump going directly after people. But he's one of the few guys that could actually do that and get that done. It was amazing. So if you got any comments about that, but it's something I normally wouldn't watch because first you have to watch all the awards and they give each other awards and all that, and that's fine. It's within their industry and all that, but I didn't have much interest in it. It all went to CNN type people and all that about their bravery, but Trump. He must have spoke for 40 minutes or 45 minutes. It was quite a long time, and he didn't hold back. He tried to tell some jokes that didn't land. Didn't land at all. I don't think. And then But they pulled it off. I don't know if he'll be invited next time. He never went his first term. All 4 years, he refused to go. He didn't want anything to do with it. Now, he's more I don't know, more comfortable with it, more open, ready to take them on and let them know. I don't know how that's going to end up being now. I mean, the press is not going to be any more harsh towards him. I think they're as harsh as they can be. We'll talk about this human doctor. I've been mentioning it, but the Dr. Ifrin Frazzle. In fact, Greg come in on Friday and talked to me a little bit about it. He's still being held on $50 million in bond. But the sad, the really sad news, and I mean, this is all interesting that he's a, alleged fraudster and he took all this money through the Medicaid program and all that, and money laundering. The sad thing is that the place closed, the clinic closed. I guess the Attorney General decided that it was going to close, and I know that there was efforts to keep that open because there's 20,000 patients going through there, and that's at the Bio Clinic, and the Bio Clinic has been out in the foothills for quite some time. I didn't realize how long. There's a Kara Carson in this article says that she and her father have been patients at the Bio Clinic. Father for 15 years. I didn't know how long it's been there, but father's been there for 15 years as a patient, and she was been there for 2, and now they don't know what they're going to do. Putting 20,000 people back on the streets to find a medical professional, it's not going to be easy. The Attorney General office has accused Fazel of defrauding the state's Medicaid program, and they've got a lot of stuff. They've got great cases. I think there's a lot of materials you just can't be ignored. Now the signs on the door, posted that they're closed due to circumstances beyond our control, and it was caused by the Attorney General's office that we have to close our doors, which is true. Attorney General's office didn't cause the fraud, but the Attorney General's office decided to pull the plug and close it, which I'm kind of surprised by. I would think they would find a way to keep it open for a lot of reasons. One is the 20,000 people in there that are getting their care, to be able to, help them with records and all that. And there's going to be an investigation going on as to what happened at this center and what happened at the Bio Clinic. And without people in the office, being able to say, hey, send me these records, send me that. I mean, going through that nightmare, that means you'd have to hire a bunch of bureaucrats to go in there and try to piece back together without direction and without help, or maybe they try to rehire some of the people that just lost their jobs. I have no idea, but it seems like a mess. As long as things are up and running, if they could have found a way to keep it going, because there's a lot of docs and people there that make a living legitimately. At least that's what I've been reading. So for them to close it, it's just going to cost so much more money. And if they want to get their money back from Fazel, I would think keeping it open would have been their best avenue to do that. Closing it's going to make the value and the assets go to nothing, and a lot of it's going to go way down. Keeping it open, you could have found buyers or whatever they could do to transfer things, I would think. But their reaction was, well, just close it. Well, then the value of all those assets become worth so much less. So much less. I mean, it's kind of hard to sell it at that point, although you're selling just equipment in a building, not a business. And the Attorney General's office says something like they're a few months behind sending out medical records and all that stuff. And the Bio Clinic said, if you have any questions, the sign says, to direct patients with questions about medical records, appointments, or other concerns to contact the Attorney General's office. I don't think the Attorney General's office is going to have any answers. I think that's just, like you fired everybody, so go talk to the Attorney General. That was her idea, to fire us all, to close those doors. I would have thought I understood there were people interested in taking it over and working out a deal where they could buy him out or do something, which would have made a value anyway that the state could have taken to replenish some of those losses. That situation's gone. That situation's gone. I don't. Although you and I don't know the details, all they were looking at on or whether that was possible. But if I remember right, I think I heard Tim Dunn was in that. Senator Tim Dunn was working towards, like helping this community keep that thing open so that these people are not going to be displaced as far as it goes, comes to patient care, doctor care. And I don't know what's going to happen to all those doctors. Some of those doctors have their own offices. Dr. Coquel's out there in the foothills, and she's under the banner of BioClinic. I don't know what happens. Imagine. I mean, she's still independent, probably in some ways. Probably can keep going, but there's who's going to do all the bookkeeping, all the stuff that BioClinic was handling for. I don't know. There's a lot of unanswered questions. This thing's going to have ripples. It's going to last a while before that all gets restructured and worked out. Trump has done an executive order about the Smithsonian Institute. For those of you who haven't been to Smithsonian, take the trip. I've been in the Smithsonian many times. I lived in Delaware, which is a state. Delaware's a state, right by Washington, D.C. Small state, but we're a state nonetheless. Where I grew up I grew up all over the country, but I went to high school and college in Dover, Delaware, which is like a 2.5 hour drive to Washington, D.C. or to New York City. Both were very centrally located. I mean, we were living in the country, but we could get to a big city very fast. I mean, it wasn't much further than going to Phoenix, but it was a cool place to grow up if you like that stuff. And we'd go to the Smithsonian and take, you could spend weeks in the Smithsonian. Air and Space Museum is my favorite portion of it. But the Trump is not happy with Smithsonian right now, and he's put an executive order out to put up temporary signs that's going to direct visitors to locations and resources for accurate information. Here's the accusation. Accusation is that the Smithsonian's exhibits and history exhibits under Anita Hartig, it's just misinformation. It's got it's just looked at through a woke lens. So he put out an executive order directing temporary signs and exhibits at the National Museum of American History to warn visitors that its displays contain inaccurate history. And he cites a White House report that criticizes the museum's narrative. The warnings are that American history accounts in sight are not accurate. And walking into the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., you could see a temporary signs or exhibits alerting of the content of the space, according to the executive order. Now, this article doesn't say that that they've seen the signs yet, but the executive order says they need to be put up. That just came out on July 24th. It directs the Interior Department to place the warning sign in order. Comes after the White House released a 162-page report on July 4th that disputed the Smithsonian's accountability of American history. This is a kind of a sad thing. I don't doubt it. I think we probably have not paid attention to a lot of the bureaucrats in the education system and probably our museum system and some of the stuff that's going on, and we'd have allowed woke culture to modify our history, is what it sounds like. He said the report was by the White House Domestic Policy Council and the National Museum of American History was an instrument for a radical activist cohort that sought to reframe the American story to serve its ideological ends. And then Trump's order says that the signage should notify visitors that the museum's exhibit should be renovated consistent with findings. His order also said new signs would direct visitors to locations and resources for accurate information regarding Americans' history. So President Trump did not appreciate the woke interpretation of our history. It said that museum failed to appropriately honor the signers of the Declaration of Independence for the United States 250th anniversary, ordered federal officials to install temporary exhibits or signs along National Park Service maintained sidewalks, walkways, and other areas to correct inaccurate information presented at the museum. So it would be a cool time to walk around D.C. So all along parks, and of course all the monuments and the parks and all that kind of stuff, it's huge amount. Well, he wants to put up history everywhere, real history, what really happened. Of course, Anitha Hartig had a few things to say. She's the national director of the museum. In a congressional hearing on July 21st, Tim Burchett out of Tennessee, he's chairman of the House Oversight Committee, said the museum had become infected by a woke ideology. And he's pointing to the White House reports, the one that Trump is citing, is we need to correct it right now, at least through temporary signs and stuff. The report makes clear the museum's woke exhibits and materials reflect a broader version held by the museum's leadership, particularly its director, Anitha Hartig. And that's according to Representative Burchett. Hartig has led the museum since 2019. Now, she says the White House report didn't fairly or accurately characterize the museum's work in reframing traditional narratives. You heard what she just said there. We didn't fairly or accurately characterize the reframing of traditional narratives. So she's standing by her changes and reframing of making it more woke. I can't believe she'd put that out there, but she did. And she said the museum is adding evidence and voices so more Americans can see themselves reflected in the national story. So she changed it for a reason. She wants more voices, more Americans can see themselves. So I guess you got to put woke people in at the founding, and so that you feel comfortable being woke, I guess. So she doesn't deny it, it looks like. To me, it looks like she's saying, it's like, so what? We had to do that. And she said it includes a declaration, revolution, constitution, and national symbols. We tell the truth about the times that the country fell short of its own founding ideals. Oh my gosh. That's her retort to Trump, that she's telling the truth that the country fell short of its founding ideals. And she put that in the Smithsonian. Telling our story full is a form of respect for the American people and a commitment to consistently being in pursuit of a more perfect union. So, yeah, she's going to twist it. She needs to go. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. She's rewriting the history, and she's in charge of the Smithsonian. Thank you, Mr. Trump, for putting out accurate information anyway. Just, even if it's going to be along the sides of the streets and out in the parks and stuff like that and stuff. Let me see. Edward is writing. He says Virginia's governor is seeking political support to make someone's immigration status a section on one's medical files, making it illegal to ask someone in the Commonwealth if they are here legally, while providing a means to sue the media and others who identify them for HIPAA violation. That's amazing. According to HIPAA violations, you can't disclose anything that's on the medical files. That's private information. Of course, they can tell you something, and there could be other avenues. But I guess it's a way for the Virginia governor to make a case that if you say someone's an illegal alien, it's also in their medical file. So that's a violation of HIPAA. That's ridiculous. So it makes sense that she's doing it. It is ridiculous. But I don't know how you can. Well, I guess you can put it on the medical files. You just can't talk about it once you You can't talk about their medical file. So I guess they're going to put that on there. That's a stupid idea for the governor. I don't think that'll hold up. I don't think that's the only way they found out they're illegal. Well, I wouldn't have known they're illegal if I hadn't read their medical files. So you're not even seeing the medical files. Silly, but it'll tie up courts. No, I think that's probably what she's after. We'll get it in court. We'll let the judge decide. Amazing. Obama is still having some problems with subcontractors. He is not a builder. Remember, Trump's a builder, under budget, on time. Obama is a Marxist, over budget, and not ever done. And we're, of course, talking about his presidential center, which he took control of. It had an estimate when they first started. It was an estimate that it was going to cost about $350 million to build his big trash can in the sky. $350 million. And it's more than $1 billion now, and there's bills unpaid like crazy. And subcontractors are filing more and more legal claims. They're owed like $900,000 according to the list. Some of the list. There's mechanics liens. They're putting liens on the Obama Presidential Center property. Structural steel contractor area erectors. They're in for $620,000. Excavation and concrete subcontractor, CSI 300. The only minority business enterprise of three claims. It's owned $236,000. Gymnasium flooring, Specialist Floors Incorporated says it's owed $25,000. And I guess the checks aren't coming. The checks aren't coming, so they're putting mechanics liens out on property, which you can do. You put a mechanics lien on it. Since I don't know what good that's going to do. It's not going to get you any cash because a mechanics lien will. I guess it's a first step into suing them. But unless they're selling the property, it's not going to pop up. Not, I don't think. Now the basketball court, which is where I guess the flooring went, it was built under a separate construction contract, and it comes as home court is hosting several high-profile WNBA All-Star Weekend event this week, which the former president attended. Yeah, apparently he talked to Caitlin Clark for a while. She liked him. And we know the Obamas have money. They've had huge contracts with book writing and HBO and all kinds of stuff where they could throw money at them like crazy. The project's ballooning costs. And it's not even done. They're still working on it. It's not even done. They have a regulation NBA basketball court, training space, and multi-purpose room. Basketball courts decorated with phrases associated with former Barack Obama, like "Yes, we can." No one does big things alone. It doesn't say anything about hope and change. I thought that was one of his better, his more famous ones, hope and change. It's all done through the Obama Foundation, nonprofit, of course. Yeah. Oversees construction. It hired Lakeside Alliance as a primary construction manager. I would not recommend those people. I don't know what all went sideways, but to be so over budget, 3 times the cost. Late, way behind, and I guess failings in concrete cracks, stuff that had to go back and be repaired. Kind of amazing failure. Mechanics liens right now are about $557,000. Which again, I don't know. I don't know how you collect on a mechanics lien. It just, if they sell the property, you could collect, but it'll never be sold. See, O'Leary's Contractors Equipment Supplies, $184,000 in unpaid equipment rental. The Cement Masons Union Trust Fund, more than $326,000 unpaid fringe benefit contributions. $47,000 for labor and material. It just has been a joke. and there's people going bankrupt over it. There's one black subcontractor allegedly were owed millions of dollars for work on the project. Concrete Collective filed a mechanics lien, more than $40 million. Lien later replaced by a court-approved security bond. Underlying dispute continues in court. Addison Plumbing also said it suspended operations and laid off workers after claiming it was left $4 million in the red. And, there's companies, Glass Management Services and Vision Painting and Decorating Services sought Chapter 11 bankruptcy for protection. And court records do not establish that the Obama Presidential Center caused those bankruptcies. Well, you don't have to. It probably contributed. According to them, according to their statements and who they are, it contributed. See, 2019, Trump was president. How did she take over? Good question. And that's talking back to Smithsonian. Marvin asked me on that the Smithsonian. I don't know that he micromanaged everything, obviously. Anitha Hardig, director of the National Museum, took over in 2000. She's led the museum since 2019. That's right. Trump was president. Yeah, that was Trump's first term. I don't think he cleaned house like he should have. I don't think he has, Marvin. That's an interesting observation. I didn't really pick up on that. All right. Where do we stand in Iran? That's a great question. It was a 13-day attack every night for 13 days. Stop for 3 days. And I know Trump says he doesn't want to stop. I guess, according to him, Iran says they want to talk. Iran says a lot of things. I don't know whether they want to or don't want to, but Trump says he's not ready to, and he had more to take care of and more things to take out. Military targets, bridges, and tunnels. And I've seen some spectacular explosions. One where I guess they hit underground storage of some missiles that looked like it blew up a mountain, because it ignited everything underground. But Iran still, and probably will continue to talk like they're not hurt, they're not hit, we're fine, we're going to threaten everybody else, and continue to threaten people. Because they're from a position of power. Their only goal is to survive, and so far they're surviving. So they don't care about the loss of things they took decades to build. They feel like they've stood up to America and they've won it, and that's their thought process, is what I understand. Now, during that 13 days of bombing, 2 weeks. Oil prices rose. They were getting down lower, and I'm looking mostly at Brent crude. Brent crude got down. Oh man, it was below $80. It got down below $80. Slightly below $80, high 70s for a short time, and then the bombing started. In 13 days, it steadily went up to just like almost 100, maybe $100 a barrel in just 2 weeks. Now there's been 3 days of no bombing, and it's back down to $89, so it's down 7% right away. It's just an amazing roller coaster. I hope that, I hope my friend like Edward, who I think enjoys the roller coasters, for investing, he's probably doing well. It just gives him more opportunity to do well. Let me detour for a second. I just picked up a note from a listener. Talks about the White House ballroom projected by Trump to cost $250 million. now estimated to be around $1 billion. Seems both Trump and Obama are off their projects. Well, here's the difference that I see. I I think, and Trump's explained it, why it went where it went, but I think Obama just doesn't know how to build or whatever. Trump, honestly, was building a ballroom and only a ballroom. That's all he was going to do. It was a ballroom, and he had investors, and he did go up. He did go up a little bit beyond the two. I mean, he went up to like 300 or 400 million because they added some stuff. They decided to add some stuff on their own. Well, it went to $1 billion because he said that the defense contractors come to him and says, Mr. President, we have a great opportunity since you're digging a hole in the ground and we can't put things in, this area, but since you're already taking down the wing and you're putting a hole in the ground, we've got this wonderful idea to build this huge, I think it's 4 or 5 stories, secure area and bunkers and all that other stuff. Those were all afterthoughts that came in. And of course, I think Trump added some chandeliers and some other stuff. But I think the Defense Department came in and changed Trump's plans. He was building a ballroom, like they would at any hotel or anywhere else. And the Defense Department came in and changed it a little bit and said, you need bulletproof glass, bomb-proof, and we're going to build a bunker and all that. And then it's also going to be a platform for drones and a platform for other equipment that we don't really know about, defense equipment. So that's why I went to $1 billion. I don't count them the same in that Obama wanted to build a trash can, presidential center, and that's what he built, trash can. I don't think he put bunkers or anything, and I don't think Defense Department had him upgrade anything. I don't think he added to it. I think he built exactly what he'd already designed. And if Trump had built just the ballroom, and he mentioned that at the Correspondents' Dinner, I think he did. It might have been another, because I listened to a few of his talks. But had he not agreed to the Defense Department to put in all the extras for the future, not for him, but for the future, the extras of security and safety for the staff and the president, whoever that is, he would have been able to have that thing much quicker and be able to enjoy it for a few years. Well, now he says he's going to get 6 months maybe. It's not going to be for him. It's he's going to get to see it built and probably hold something in there. According to him, he says it's on task now, but that whole basement, the whole foundation is what's going to hold it up. I mean, all the work that's being done underground is going to hold it up. So that's why there's a big difference. I don't think anybody came to Obama and did that. He just made stupid decisions, probably. He hired DEI people to do it instead of, contacting professionals. Well, they're all professionals, but I mean, he hired the best DEI instead of the best person, which is unfortunate for him. If support for Trump is strong, why is most of the electorate against the war? At the moment, it's 69% against it. I guess it depends on how the question. I don't doubt the 69 number, depending on the question, I'm sure. I don't think anybody wants a war. If you came and asked me, do I want a war with Iran, I'd say no. Do I think Trump did the right thing? Yeah. Am I against war? Yeah. I mean, I think both can be true. I think it can be, depending on what that question is and how it's framed. I don't think anybody wants it, including Trump. Trump doesn't want a war. He said he doesn't want any forever wars. And of course, this is him saying no forever war. I mean, we're going to knock out everything, and we have to get them to the table to petition for peace. And unfortunately, it's taken 6 months so far, and hopefully we get to that shortly. And it's surprising to me that more of Europe hasn't jumped in to help at all. I mean, they've been dead set, just let you handle it. And they're the ones reaping benefits from it because Iran design that to take control of the straits and control, oil and to control things and and nuclear bombs and my understanding is they're working on one right now. I don't know how that's possible with all the bombing going on and everything, and intelligence knows where they would be building if they were building one. I don't know how they can still build one, but they may have had something hidden. I don't know, but they're still bombing. Well, not 3 days. 3 days they haven't bombed. 13 they did. 13 they did. And even with the Houthis jumping in and attacking Saudi Arabia, so that they can't use the strait to take the ships out of the Red Sea, prices still fell back down to about $82 a barrel, which is amazing with all that's going on and still trying to hit some of the ships Iran is with what little they have. I don't know what they have left. I don't know, that 10%, 20% left. I don't know. But there's, I guess, always one more drone or one more missile. In spite, they've been building that inventory for decades, apparently, decades. And the amount of work they did in those mountains, it took decades to do it. Very patient people. They want to take over the world. You had to be patient. And apparently, the buildup of military and weaponry was to keep people backed off while they built their nuclear bomb, which of course elevates the risk. And if you know the history of the nuclear bomb, they tried to build a nuclear bomb back in, I think, in the 70s or 80s, and they didn't have all the drones and the missiles and all the other stuff to protect their build. And Israel went in and destroyed it before it could be completed. I don't remember what year that was. I could look it up, but they went in and destroyed it back then to keep them from building that bomb because their goal was to take them off the map. Israel, just river to the sea type stuff. So they put it all underground. They spent the next 3 decades or better put it underground until Israel couldn't do that again. And along came America with bunker busters. Let's talk to Gilbert. Good morning, sir.
Well, how long is a decade? 10 years?
Yep.
Okay, so we've been the last year and a half, we've been talking about Iran's been threatening us for 45 years.
47.
47. That's almost 3 decades.
47. Almost five. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So they've had close to 50 years to build up their arsenal, build up their bunkers. It's not no surprise to me.
No.
It's the fact that they've been allowed to do it. Meaning, being allowed, Obama and Biden allowed this to happen because they had these damn don't cross this red line, don't cross this line, don't sand the line in the sand.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was Syria. He made that comment too, but it just showed his weakness. So they knew they could get away with it. Yeah.
So that's why we are where we're at as far as Iran. I don't want people to be killed and all that.
No.
Do I want a nuclear disaster in America? Do I want a 9/11 in America again? No.
But what do you say, Gilbert? What do you say to those people that say, but if we bomb them, they'll just get mad?
Well, you know what? The best way to take care of a bully is to do what a bully does.
Yeah.
Whatever a bully does, you do back to them, and you'll win. A bully will keep on bullying you until you stand up for yourself. Correct?
I think so, and I think they were mad before the first bomb left. I mean, they've been mad. They've been chanting "Death to America" for 47 years.
Right. What did Emilio? I can't even think of his last name. Anyway, he said, "I'd rather stand and die than live on my knees."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're facing the hardships. And I was listening to Coker, whatever it is, that liberal Democrat. He's whining about gas prices and whining about gas price. Hakeem Jeffers.
Hakeem?
He's whining about he's whining about the gas prices.
He's looking for a wedge issue for political reasons. And
Right. We
I don't like
understand
gas
that.
prices either. I agree with him. I don't like them either.
Well, yeah, but again, do we want gas prices or do we want nuclear war?
Yeah.
Take your pick. Take your poison. You want to pay more for gas to get rid of that guy that wants to annihilate America? Do you want to pay more, or do you want to allow him to annihilate America?
I think Akeem and the rest of the Democrat Party and Chuck Schumer would put their heads in the sand like Europe. And
Yep.
when they do get nuclear and some catastrophe does happen, it's not their fault. Well, but they
Oh,
should,
no.
you know.
No, Brother Russ, this is what they would say. How could that happen? How did that happen?
Yeah.
We weren't taking care of our defenses. What happened to our military? What happened? Let's find the blame.
What do you think about his Golden Dome project? You know,
That's because he has a dark dome on his head.
no, I mean Trump's Golden Dome.
Okay.
You know, to protect us
Wow,
for security. Now,
Didn't-
that's going to raise
well,
the budget. You know, the defense. That's why he's asking for so much more money.
Well, didn't Ronald Reagan have the same thought?
Star Wars, and he definitely got that all started, and a lot of the technologies have been developed because of that.
Because of that, and all Trump's doing is making it better. Correct?
Exactly. That's the goal, is to make it like Iran's dome.
Right.
Although his would be Golden Dome, because he's
Well, you know, just play on words. Play on
Yeah, I
words.
know.
That's all.
he
That's
likes
all that is.
he likes gold.
Oh well, you know, he's a narcissist.
He is that. He is.
But the thing is, you know, we need to realize Israel is the size of what? Nebraska,
New Jersey,
New Jersey.
much smaller
So-
than Nebraska. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was easy for him to have his what does Israel call it? Not Golden Dome.
Yeah, they call it something dome. I don't know, but they
Yeah.
and it's been very effective because
Very effective. Now,
They
what's it going to cost us?
they get attacked regularly.
Yes.
Regularly.
Yeah. Yes. So the bottom line, what's the price tag for America's Golden Dome versus Israel?
I don't know. I don't know.
It'd be billions of dollars.
Oh gosh,
But, you know-
trillions probably. But the technology is so advanced and the AI is so advanced. It's all so very possible. And there's all these other alternative drones and things that are so hugely cheaper, so much cheaper. Ukraine is doing wonderful things with little budgets, very little budgets, with AI running it, and they're smoking Russia, where you know Russia's the big boy on the block, tons more people, tons more money, tons more equipment, and they can't get a foothold in Ukraine. It's just amazing.
Right. Now, let's think about this. Let's go back 1940s, 1941, 42, 43, 44, during World War II. Now, what did Japan do to us over the air? Didn't they start forest fires with their air balloons? Incinerating?
I don't know. I don't rem. I mean, I
I
think they
believe
tried
they
a few
did.
things on the West Coast with some submarines and
Yes.
stuff.
Seattle
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
ask your fact checker. I believe they did send over balloons to
Yeah.
start forest fires.
But it was pretty small time and not very effective. But they did
But
try.
it was
They
big-
did.
it-
They
but
certainly
it was
did.
big time for that time for that era. It was
Yeah.
big time. The fact that they were able to get into our airspace and do that.
Yeah. That's right.
You know,
They
that-
did. They did. They popped up in a submarine and tried some shenanigans.
Right.
But it wasn't widespread. And you know, Japan.
No.
Japan's really interesting because they were so powerful and they were, arrogant and obstinate like Iran, and they were going to never
Right.
surrender. They were never going to do anything, and they were never going to cooperate. And now they're as much as the West as anybody.
Right, but you got to realize during that time, Japan was fighting what, two different fronts? Fighting us and also fighting the Russians.
Oh, and
Fighting
China.
China.
China, yeah, they were.
Yeah.
They were going to take over everybody. That arrogance and everything, and they were ferocious. My understanding, just terribly ferocious.
But the blessing of the glory of Jesus Christ, God gave us the opportunity to be able to destroy Japan because our American willpower,
Well, yes,
we got-
ingenuity and all that kind of stuff. But
industrial,
if you do much study on that stuff, we didn't know how it was going to go. I mean, it wasn't like right now we have command of Iran. I mean, we never had command of this stuff. I mean, it was always not knowing what was going to work. Would D-Day work? Nobody knew. I mean, it was a scary, scary time compared to today.
Okay, I'm going to say this, and probably everybody's going to be upset at me. We don't have command of Iran right now. We don't, because they're like the Japanese in Okinawa and Iwo Jima. They're in the caves hiding, waiting for us to come in.
Well,
they are.
We have
and
we have.
We're a command of the air, the Navy, yada yada yada.
That's more what I'm in reference to, which we never did
Right.
that. We lost so many B-17s over Europe and everywhere else. I mean, it was just slaughter. And they just kept
That's the way we were
flying.
doing it.
But yeah,
Right. It was the way we were doing it because we didn't have the strategies.
well, we didn't have the technology at all that we do
Well,
now.
we had technology, but the strategy that we were doing, throw all we can up there and bomb them. But the Germans had something else. They had anti-aircraft and they had airbursts.
Yeah, but we didn't have the B-2 bomber. I mean, they can't
Right.
see it. The F-15Es, you couldn't. The F-22s, you can't see them. F-35
Nope,
or stealth. And
But-
Iran can't see us, and we can fly
They
at
can't
will.
see it, but
Yeah.
again, the sad thing about it is, and I'm no general, I'm no military scholar. As a matter of fact, I never served the military,
Yeah.
but I did enough time at YPG to understand what's going on. That we can control the air and all that stuff, but getting inside in ground, that's how we're going to do.
I hope we never do. I hope we don't.
I hope we never do. I hope we pay people to do it,
Yeah.
such as
Well,
occurred.
If the Gulf states would do it, would be
Yep.
great, and they're capable, probably, because
But remember how much.
they're kind of softened up right now.
Remember how much armament we send the Kurds armament to help us, and they did something else.
My understanding
read
is that they kept some of the weaponry that was given to them and for themselves,
Right.
but I don't know if the Kurds are going to be a player or not. There were so many that thought that the Kurds are ferocious enough to go down and take parts of Iran and stuff internally.
And-
Internally, there's been strife, but who knows how much.
Right. And we're fighting against our own military vehicles that we left in Iran. Correct.
Well, yeah, I mean, some of the jets we left, like the Phantom jets or something, but that's from Vietnam. I mean, they can't.
Yeah.
They're nothing. I mean, they're nothing that can go up against our jets, but they do have them.
No. What? Yeah. But what I'm getting at that's we're not in total control of Iran. We are partially controlled.
Well,
of Iran.
I'm looking at the waters and the bridges and everything. I mean, we can pretty much do anything from air or anything we want. But you're right. We're not on the ground. We're not on the ground. And
And I hope we're not on the ground. And what we do need is to get more technology for those what do you call those bombs? Breakers.
bunker busters?
Yeah, that can travel deeper than what we have right now. Because there was a 4,000 feet below ground. Am I right, or am I?
That's too much. I think it's less. It's like 400 feet or something. But I think they finally hit that one. That last munition dump that they thought they couldn't get to. I think they did. But I'd need confirmation on that. That was that last big explosion.
I'm talking about where they got
Pickaxe
their
Mountain or something.
Yeah, there's one of them that they had. Were saying that that's where they're sending a lot of the uranium.
It's under the big mountain.
Yeah, it's under the big mountain where they're storing uranium.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know how much confirmation that they really have it, but I've heard reports. There's people out there saying they're building a bomb right now, but I don't know how they do that. I don't know if that's
Well, they
true.
can build a bomb. Let's talk about New York,
Okay.
Russ. Well, we had a 12-year-old young man killed as he was exiting a store.
Right.
He went to buy himself a ball, just a ball, baseball, and he was killed by a person that's been in and out of jail for 30 years, back and forth. Here in the United States of America. Why was that guy out again? He had a track record. And they'll say, yeah, it was no felonies. It was da 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 da. But maybe he wanted to go back to jail for 3 hots and a cot.
A lot of policies in those sanctuary cities and stuff are making them more dangerous. There's no question. And I think, like you, it's directly related to all that. That, you know, when the violence becomes accepted and there's no, the consequences are so light for these people, I think it's just, you're just asking for trouble. And they're getting it, and they'll get more of it.
Oh, one question for you, Russ. Now, this Mandami,
Yeah.
the other day, he said to the community to hassle Netanyahu. I can't pronounce his name this morning. Israel's
Oh,
chief.
Netanyahu.
Netanyahu, yeah.
Yeah.
He wants the people to get in his face and just cause all sorts of havoc.
Right.
Now, that guy that killed those 2 Jews or stabbed them,
Uh-huh.
shouldn't he, the mayor, be charged for that, for inciting a riot?
I think you've got a great point. I do. For me, it's enough. For me, it's obvious. You know, they said Trump was inciting a riot by saying march peacefully.
Yes.
Yeah,
And with all the politicians in the Democratic Party that had said get in people's faces if they have wear a Trump hat.
Yeah. We've had people like Maxine Waters and others do
Yeah,
that for a long time. And there should be more done. And I think we're hearing more and more rhetoric from the right that is finding it unacceptable. Stephen Miller, for one of them, who's out and out saying it is the left that is causing all of this. And for years, the Democrats keep saying it's the conservatives, white supremacists that are doing all the danger. Never was, Gilbert. Never was.
I know that. Now, I believe in the First Amendment.
Sure.
I really do.
Sure.
But I believe if you use the First Amendment and you hurt others, you're no longer just doing the First Amendment to speak free.
Correct.
You are speaking to hurt people.
Correct. And the First Amendment, I'm agreeing with you that the First Amendment is absolutely right and fair and all that, but there's things you can be liable for.
You should be liable for, but how many of them people have been prosecuted? Name one.
Not many. Oh, you mean the elected officials? None.
Yeah, none.
They've been immune from those kinds of things.
Yes,
and
why?
by law, they're kind of immune when they're on the floor, but they seem to be immune even when they're out in the street. So I don't know.
Well, Maxine Waters told people to get in people's faces and disturb their dinner and whatever.
No justice, no
that's
peace. They went out and did it in front of the Supreme Court's houses, which is strictly illegal.
Yes. Yeah, and they got away with it.
Yeah, they did. They did.
No, did anybody get prosecuted? I'm talking even civilians.
Not to my knowledge, except for the guy that was trying to kill him with a gun.
Right. But the reason we are in the fiasco that we are in today is because no one has gotten prosecuted.
Yeah.
They have. Hell, they weren't detained.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't even charged, and that's what's happening. And that's why this 12-year-old young man died.
I think
he died because
I think Trump's done a lot to water that down now because Antifa is now listed as a terrorist organization. So a lot of them have skipped out of the country. A lot of the leadership has skipped out of the country. And they know that they're being investigated. They know that they're coming after them. So and they are conspirators and terrorists, and they do that, and they're under the guidance of the left and have been. And the left keeps saying it's the white supremacists. Don't watch me, nothing over here. And then they send Antifa out to do real damage.
Exactly. And then they got others. Now, DSA, I had to look up what DSA stood for. Democratic Socialists of America.
Right.
I was listening to this Megan, I can't think of her last name just now. And they were asking her questions about closing prisons. Oh, except for extreme criminals. What constitutes an extreme criminal? a guy that just rapes one person or a guy that rapes 30.
Wow.
For and the border. Oh yeah, we need to close the border and everybody that's been here and has lived in America, they should be released and set free and blah 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 blah.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got so many radical thinking out there that's so ridiculous. We see it on the news all the time.
And
I think
she's
it's a
running
real.
for
It's
election.
got to be a small amount of people, but I think more and more
Well,
there's been a pushback, and the Democrats are afraid of that being, all tagged to them, which it should be. It is tagged to them, to the Democrats. The DSA's tagged to them.
Yeah, and again, I'm going to remind you, a Green Beret unit is a very small unit, correct? When they go in the jungles, when they go in.
I
But
understand
they're
that they
so
are.
powerful.
Yeah.
They're so powerful, aren't they?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're disruptors,
They're
and
very- Yeah, yes. And that's what these guys are. They're small units
yeah.
all over America. And you put them together, then they're a large number.
Right.
You keep on saying they're a minority. Yeah, they are a small minority wreaking havoc across America.
I think they're on the run.
Yeah.
You don't see them a lot in the news right now. It's at least videos and stuff, because I think they're being targeted to be investigated by our own FBI and stuff. So
And again, Russ, being investigated, being charged, and then being prosecuted. We haven't seen that yet. And I agree with you, and I'm not trying to push back what you're saying.
yeah,
I'm just saying
I think we're seeing some.
I haven't seen anybody being prosecuted.
Okay, I'll have to take a look.
Yeah, ask your fact checker.
Okay.
Ask him how many people have been prosecuted.
Well, I just asked my AI real quick, and it says federal authorities have secured major convictions and long prison sentences tied to militant anti-ICE protests labeled as Antifa-associated domestic terrorism, highlighted by the sentencing of 8 North Texas cell members, recent Minnesota federal charges, and high-profile cyber stalking arrests. And it gives a list of some of the arrests. So there has been, and they've been going after the leadership. I guess it's not hitting the mainstream media as much. But there has been, and they never have gone after these people before. But,
nope, they haven't.
No, but they are now, and it takes a while to get all the investigation done to all that. But let me see, Benjamin Song sentenced to 100 years in prison for the attempted murder of Alvarado police officer during a July 4th, 2025 protest. Co-defendant Ruba received 70 years. Elizabeth Soto, 50 years. Daniel Rolando.
Those are small people. Those are small people. I want.
You mean like politicians?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The politicians that start that rhetoric that pushes the narrative out there.
Yeah. I these are probably middle management people.
Right.
Yeah.
So I saw something the other day. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is that Corey Jeffers that's been voting for Maxine Waters. Have you heard something of that?
No, I don't know anything about anything with Hakeem.
She's been missing. She's been missing for a while.
Maxine Waters is missing?
Well, from the floor.
Oh, I have no idea. I haven't heard.
Yeah. She's been missing, and this guy's been voting for her. Then again, it was on Facebook.
That's illegal, man. You can't do that.
Well, I know that. I realize that. Yeah, it doesn't mean they don't do it.
Wow. I mean, I would think that would be easy for them to catch. You have to be on the floor.
You would think, so.
Now, under Nancy Pelosi, she said you don't have to. And during COVID, you could vote by phone or something. I don't know what she was doing. And then even after COVID scare was over, she let them do it for a while. And then of course it all came back. You had to get on the floor. Fetterman had to come on the floor even, back then.
Yeah. So another thing that I saw that they actually voted and said no more inside trading while you're on politics or representative.
You can't vote while you're doing what now?
No more inside trading.
Oh, inside trading. They're talking about trying to pass some bills on that. I was wondering.
I thought they passed it.
I don't think that's
Have
been.
they passed it?
I don't think that's been passed yet. I don't think so. I'd have to double check that, but there has been, but it keeps getting shot down. I mean, keep in mind, you're asking the people involved in it
Yeah, to vote.
to vote to not let them do their own stuff anymore,
Right.
and unfortunately, it's hard to do. That's hard to do, but I hope they can.
And one more thing on the local level.
What's that?
How long after the primary or after elections are you supposed to take your signs off? Well, let's talk primary because those that lost the primary,
Uh,
how long do they have to take their signs off the street corners and such?
if I remember right, it's 2 weeks. But
2 weeks.
I'll have to double check that too. Uh, uh, let me. I'll put that on some AI and have them look at it. Uh, uh, but after the election, you should get them down right away. You should.
Right.
I gave my puller to Derek Egbert to get his all down. You know, he put it back in my office this morning, so I know he's done with it. He's pulled them all down. So and that's the right way to do it. If you're doing something like that, get it down of the way. Don't put a bad image on it.
What you need to do it the right way, like you said, you need your rebar puller to take them down.
Yeah.
What you ought to do, Russ, is rent that sucker out to these people that are having a hard time pulling their signs.
I had Chris. I think made 3 more of them.
Yeah, Chris made that.
I've got some of them already.
I was going to buy one, but then again, I said, I'm through doing all this political stuff, putting in signs and all that. But it worked wonders when I was using it.
Oh yeah.
Boy, did it work wonders.
The alternative is to rip your guts out and get nowhere.
Yeah. I don't care how many vice grips you have.
Oh yeah. But it was
Back in the old days, you know that?
it was Handy Andy that came up with the design of that and built it for me.
Yeah. Yep.
And then Carl saw it and others, and I had him build more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a fact. I used yours many times.
As far as I know, no Democrats have one. So I don't know.
So anyway,
15
okay,
days.
people out-
Arizona political signs have to be removed 15 days. So 2 weeks, 15 days. Yeah.
2 weeks. All right.
All right,
Let's hope they start getting taken down. Later now.
Thank you, buddy. Bye-bye. That was Gilbert. He had a lot of questions. I had a few answers. Some. Yeah, the campaign signs, 15 days. Now, for the guys that won the primary, of course, they're not going to take them down. They've got another election to go through. Primary guys that won should take it down, whatever. Jordan, and I still talk about Iran and some of the stuff going on over there, but Jordan has had, they just shot down a couple of Iran drones as Iran is continuing to go wider on the amount of people they're attacking and they're trying to just make everybody mad at them for some reason and just keep doing it. So they shot down a couple drones and said that they found no casualties or material damage and they were okay. But yeah, markets are rising a little bit. Oil dips because of 3 days. It's been a 3-day pause. There hasn't been any strikes in Iran for 3 days. I don't think anyone's called it off. I think it's just a 3-day pause. I don't know what it's predicated on. But somehow between Trump and Iran, they've said that. I'm not expecting that. I don't think Trump expects anything for them to be serious about, a real peace. I mean, they want peace as long as we give them money and tell them and then say they could do whatever they want. I think they consider that right. But I wouldn't be surprised if it goes on again, even during this 3 days. I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't think there's been anything written about it. Nothing that I know about. Iran's also issuing warnings to Ukraine. Yeah, Iran doesn't like Ukraine, and Ukraine has been, of course, at war with Russia now for 4 years. And they've become very good at attacking Russia targets outside of Ukraine. You remember when this war first started, 100% of everything was being fought on Ukraine territory. And if you only fight on Ukraine territory, Ukraine's not going to do well in the long run. And I think they understood that, and they they bucked the system, and that system was the West was giving them armaments and giving them things for defensive purposes only, and you can't go into mainland Russia. We don't want to make Putin mad. Well, Ukraine bucked that one, and of course, if I remember right, the first time that they went into Russia, I mean, actually drove tanks and drove equipment into Russia and surprised Russia. Russia wasn't ready for it. They did not guard against it. They didn't think it was even possible that would happen. So they had really light guards, like a border crossing guards, and then they come in with these tanks and Humvees and stuff. And they were Humvees, and I think they got a lot of flack over that for using military donations that they were told they can't use. Well, after that, they just built all their own stuff. Everything they've put in there was been built by them, and then later, the United States and others have given them opportunities and permission to use them into Russia, and they have. They've taken out so much in Russia. Their ability to create war. They're taking away factories that are making bombs, factories that are making drones, taking away oil refineries. That of course, it takes a lot of oil refined, for the lubricants as well as the diesel fuel and gasoline and everything that's running the military. They've been taking that away to the point where Russia stopped giving gas to civilians in a lot of cases, like in Crimea, no gas. It's all for the military now. What they have left, they've depleted Russia enough that they've had to get gas refined. I think India has been selling them gas because they don't have it. I mean, here's an oil-rich country that makes its money exporting oil and gas and oil products, and now they don't have enough because Ukraine has made such a dent in it in the last 2 to 3 years, where they've started going into Russia and taking those things out. Well, they've been doing the same thing on the sea. Little by little, they've gotten stronger on the sea, and they don't have a navy anymore. They have drones on the water, drones in the air, drones probably under the water, and the ships have withdrawn from Crimea. The Russian ships have withdrawn, and Ukraine has followed them and gone after them. They have. They've gone after them, and on one of those trips going after them, Iran says that Kyiv attacked an Iranian commercial vessel in the Caspian Sea, killing one sailor and wounding another. So now the head of the Iranian Parliament's National Security Commission, Abraham Aziz, he said the list of those who have miscalculated continues to increase. Says Ukraine, too, may soon come to understand that Iran does not let actions go unanswered. And Abbas Gargachi, the foreign minister, he warned that the incident cannot go unanswered. So they're going to go after Ukraine now. Like they don't have their hands full. They're going to go after Ukraine. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air, Mike.
Morning, Mr. Russell.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
So what I missed, I was rocking out doing deliveries this morning, and I forgot to tune in to my favorite.
Well, I appreciate that, but you missed Gilligan called in just a few minutes ago, and
no, I'm not worried about him. I listened.
He had a lot of great questions, man.
He had a lot of questions.
Yes, he did.
You don't need to poke the bear for me, buddy. I can poke it enough on my own.
You're going to do it on your own? All right. I liked the Gilligan handle, though. I liked it. It was cool.
Yeah, but that was Angry Mike, not Mad Mike.
Okay.
What Angry Mike have to say today? Anything?
I haven't heard from him today other than through text and stuff.
Wow.
But he's still, he actually is quite the thinker, and he really brings up a lot of great opinions and stuff.
Sure.
Sometimes he's just frames it around a lot of anger. He's mad. He's angry.
Yeah, he's passionate, man.
Yeah.
And I get that. So the thing that prompted my call was the drones in the U.S. finally, or NATO, or whoever, probably who is NATO, U.S., right?
Primarily,
Finally,
as far as you talk about who finances it, yeah.
they finally allowed the Ukraine, old school name, to start hitting targets further inside Russia.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
that was not what the desired it wasn't the desired tactic for quite a while.
No, they were
But-
afraid. All of Europe was afraid that if you go into Russia, it'll make them mad and they'll attack us. And because they
Yeah,
threaten to
well,
every day, they threaten all the time. They threaten nuclear on a constant basis. You know.
And Putin may end up having to do something like that to keep his own
Who
neck
knows?
from being
Who
strung
knows?
up, because it's not going well.
No.
And attacking inside far. If Ukraine says they have been hitting inside Siberia, that's a freaking long ways away.
They have been hitting targets 1,000 miles away. Some of those refineries that Russia thought were secure because they're so far away, like from here to Florida away, Ukraine hit them. That's just kind of amazing. Kind of amazing. They built that themselves in the basement.
Right?
Yeah,
Well,
they're
good for them.
yeah, that's very innovative, and they've taught us a lot. In fact, we have bought technology from them now, and Saudi Arabia is buying. They're exporting military technology. Yeah,
Yeah, this Ukraine war has been like a paradigm shift of technology and war.
right.
And it's getting to the point where you remember this old Star Wars movies, I'm sure, the Clone Wars, and the robots fighting each other.
The Clone Wars, yeah, for sure. We're there right now. Ukraine has taken over, I guess, a village or something with no manpower, strictly drones, and had the Russians surrender it.
Yep, and they've
The first ever. So they already got the world record books on that. They've already got the first.
Yeah, not exactly the world record I'd shoot for, but still.
Well, if they're the first, that is the world record. That's it. Until it gets beat.
Yeah. Technology is changing.
Oh.
And,
well, and we need to wake up because
war is changing.
We're firing million dollar missiles to take out small stuff.
$30,000 drone.
Right.
Yeah,
Ukraine doesn't have that kind of cash. So they said they made $1,000 drone to take out a $30,000 drone. And we're learning from it. And apparently we're doing more militarily to buy from some of these smaller businesses, smaller companies that are duplicating these little things. And that's really a disruption, I think, to the military complex, because, it always works this way. We buy from these big, powerful companies that make amazing things at amazing price tags. And there's competition now. I'm curious to see how it's all going to come out.
Well, they are also using shotguns to take out drones. They're also using nets.
Yeah.
To catch them and take them out.
Well, there needs to be a layered approach.
Sure.
And that's what Israel has been doing. Their dome has been layered to where you've got long range stuff, and airplanes are a big part of that dome too. They'll send out the F-16s, and the F-16s take out a lot of stuff as well as all that.
They're talking about the F-47 is going to be an entire package. It's going to be the plane, of course, but then it's going to have wingmen of drones.
Yes, but I will bet you that these other planes, the F-35, will probably be adapted to do the same thing. I would think it's it's all electronics is all. They just add the electronics.
B-52 will get a mod.
B-52 is amazing that it still goes on, but with its role, and I've read on this that I'm like, how did that thing survive? Because it's on radar and everything else. You can see it as soon as it takes off. It doesn't matter, because by the time they bring the the B-52s, the high performance stealth aircraft have already taken out any danger to it. Or pretty much all of it.
It normally flies fairly high too.
Yeah, but they can shoot down satellites now, so you can't get high enough to avoid it anymore. Really?
No, but still, is it are they taking out satellites from ground, or they're taking out satellites from other satellites,
From-
satellite killer satellites?
They can take them out from the ground. I mean,
Wow.
but there's a big problem with it, and China's done it, and others have done it, for testing to make sure that they can do it.
Uh-huh.
But the problem is, you take one satellite and blow it up, and then you've got 30,000 pieces floating around that could cause problems.
Debris, yeah.
That debris up in space would be coming so cluttered that nobody could use it.
Yeah.
And I know Musk
Getting hard to-
Musk is looking at ways of cleaning up the debris, and I'm sure it can be, but that'd be a big price tag.
I think he just launched something, or SpaceX did, to go up, and it's going to be up for like 15 years.
To do what? Clean up
I
debris,
read-
you think,
Or recover
so?
dead or dying satellites.
Yeah, and that's a whole subject I never knew anything about. I talked to a friend, actually Edward, that owns some satellites, and when you retire a satellite, there's a lot of ways to do it. And my thing was, well, just point it at the sun and kick it, and apparently, or another planet or something. Apparently, not allowed to do that. You don't want to.
It's a long ways away.
Well, getting into the sun is really complex, and you can't hit other planets and stuff, and you're not allowed to crash it into another planet, really. So,
Not even the moon can't
No.
become our
no, can't.
dumping ground.
EPA won't let you, I guess. So,
Well, it's probably a good thing.
so it's easier to burn them up in our own atmosphere, but the problem is you've got to do it at the right way so that it hits the ocean and not populated areas in
Right.
case there's some debris. But apparently it's not that easy to do.
No.
I don't know how they all accomplish it, but
It still is amazing to me that they can track the trajectory, the flight path of someone going to, or satellites, going to distant planets, because everything's moving.
yeah.
We're going around the sun, and the other planet's going around the sun, and somehow they're able to do all the mathematics and whatnot to figure out exactly which path to take and how to arrive at that location.
Yeah, amazingly, during the moon launches, they did it with a slide rule. They didn't even have artificial intelligence back then.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's old school. All right, one last parting thought, then I got to go get ready for my day job.
All right.
Is the allowing Ukrainians to take out targets and sites and people and cities and refineries inside Russia is why China and probably Russia are both involved in supplying targeting and information to hit us.
Do you really believe if we weren't doing that they wouldn't have? I think they would have anyway.
I'm not saying that they wouldn't have, but
Okay.
it's definitely, it's a two-way road.
Well, yeah. When we were in Korea, China jumped in and helped North Korea, and we're still dealing with them, as friends now. Kind of
Yep.
friends, but they're not friends. I don't know. And we suspect, but China and Trump mentioned that he talked to Xi, and Xi said he's not doing it, and I trust him or whatever. I don't know. And that was Trump recently.
The funniest thing I heard all day.
Yeah, I know.
I trust.
I know.
All right.
Thank you, buddy.
I'll let you go back to listening.
Have fun, bud. Bye bye.
Will do.
Yeah, I was Mad Mike. That also he sells cars, does Uber, so he does a lot of stuff. Stays busy. Staying busy is good. Yeah, but Ukraine is to handle Iran now. But Ukraine said it struck the Ukrainian vessel, for attempting to supply Iran with weapons. And nearly 2 weeks of pounding strikes in retaliation of having Iran killed the 4 American soldiers. So he wasn't going to let that happen, which is amazing. I didn't know they were there helping us with that, but Iran has supplied Russia with all those drones that attacked the Ukraine for so long, the Shahed drones. and so they haven't been friendly for a while. They're allies of Russia. They gave Russia the opportunity to make those Shahed drones, licensing and stuff to do that. Let me see I just want to mention this again. I saw it. I think I mentioned it briefly the other day on the fire in Yuma. The fire in Yuma happened on Thursday, 11th Avenue and 15th Street. And the report has come in that they were they were reporting a party when they called, said that they were grilling. That caused the fire. They were grilling, and they heard a loud boom. And it's Francisco Leon. He's a public information officer at YF, Yuma Fire Department. And it's still currently on investigation, but they believe the origin of the fire was somewhere around the grill area, which, amazing, around the grill area, not the grill itself, maybe. Let me take a call real quick with Black Cloud. Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how you doing?
Doing well.
I've been texting you. I don't know. I thought I was watching you live here. Maybe I'm not.
Yeah.
But so what's the deal? It doesn't seem to be there's any agency transportation for veterans to doctor's appointments here in Yuma.
Now, I sent you a few phone numbers. I take it none of them panned out?
Well, I've probably talked to, I don't know, 2 weeks now. I've been on the phone to multiple agencies. I mean, they got all kinds of stuff available. Like they'll clean your house, they'll give you a bath, whatever. But as far as transportation, there is none.
Wow. And I know there was some. You're saying they closed down, I guess, the DAV.
DAV closed down. The what is it? Saguaro. I don't know. They don't do it. It used to be Dollar Ride. They're not available anymore. There's a Helping Hands out in the foothills. They only do the foothills, and they're overbooked already. And on it goes. It's just
that's right. Helping Hands. I forgot all about them. But you're saying they're overbooked?
Well, they don't want to do it. They said they just don't have any capacity to do any more than what they're doing. But like I say, they're pretty much foothills. They don't really want to come to Yuma, even though if they have to come to Yuma for something like that, they would, but they won't come to Yuma.
Yeah,
to pick up somebody to take them. And it's just, there's a lot of veterans out. VA does a pretty good job of taking care of the veterans here. But they don't have any way, like they have a transportation facility they call Tucson. They'll direct you right back to the local VA, and local VA, then they don't answer the phone here. You got to go through Tucson to get the VA here. So it's just a vicious circle. And like I say, there's a whole lot of people out here. They have appointments. Matter of fact, I had an appointment here for tomorrow.
Okay.
I had to cancel it. Told me the option was cancel, reschedule. I said, reschedule. Maybe I can find a transportation. But the problem is there's no transportation available.
Well, I just looked at YCAT to see what because I thought they offered something at one time. And according to
I think they did at one time.
Well, according to the website, I just checked. It says they have the Veterans Transportation Program. If your appointment is an official VA health facility or an authorized community care provider, enrolled veterans can get free rides arranged directly through the VA. You can coordinate rides.
Find a bus stop?
No, they do door to door. YCAT. They have fixed routes, but they also have the on-call, which is a door-to-door paratransit service for medical appointments and other needs. You must pre-qualify through an application process, show an ADA certified mobility needs, or be age 60 plus. Heck, you qualified for that a long time ago. You can do it through WACOG. Give WACOG a call.
WACOG won't do it. I already talked to Waycock.
Well,
They did not. That they don't. They won't do it.
Well, it says you can go through WACOG. You can check screening details on YCAT on call.
So do you call Waycock or you call Wycat?
I'd call YCAT, but it says go through, and it's called the Veterans Transportation Program. And if it's official, they use Vet Ride Portal. If this is all still current, but give them a try and let me know if they work.
I'll give them a try and I'll let you know, because I mean, it doesn't make any sense to have an appointment if nobody can get to the appointment.
Right.
You know.
There used to be a lot more available.
Well, yeah, and I can understand that with all the fraud going on. These people start these NGOs and pocket all the money.
Yeah.
So, and then, like you was talking about earlier today on a program, that some doctor screwed everything up out there in the foothills, and you know, and a whole lot of people pay the price for that.
Well, we're going to pay a big price for it because it's shut down a whole business, and there's 20,000 people without doctors now.
Yeah, you know,
It's huge.
Unfortunately, that's how come it's getting to be so hard to find something. I mean, you know, it doesn't seem like that hard. There was years ago that I donated a vehicle for that purpose to the DAV, but DAV is basically, I don't know, they had some paperwork got screwed up, and so then the National came in and shut the whole thing down, and now they still have the building open. They still cater to basically non-members. I mean, you go in there and do karaoke and all that stuff, but they're not doing anything for the veterans.
Wow. Let me know if YCAT has that, but according to the stuff I just read, but it says it goes through WACOG. I can't imagine them not knowing about it because, you know, WACOG does help with the fundings on stuff.
Well, like I said, I've made a lot of those calls, and it just seemed like one would refer you to another one, and
what a mess.
Just one big vicious circle, and it actually got absolutely nowhere. Right. I mean, I know people that are not even citizens of this country that are getting rights. I know that. And it's a damn shame, because for the veterans that went out and did their time, served their country, to be basically kicked to the curb. There's nothing available. There's everything available for them, but there's nothing available.
I know. And it's frustrating to see all that's going on in this country where illegal aliens are getting rich being illegal aliens. Not all of them, but there's a group that have
and there's not a whole lot being done about it. They're saying there is, but it hasn't stopped yet.
Well, I mean, there's been an active, prosecution of it in the last, 6-7 months for sure, since Nick Shirley blew it up for sure. But
there was that one 6 months ago where a jury actually found one of them Somalians guilty, and the judge overturned the jury. I don't know if you recall that or not.
Well, there's been a lot of them that have had their cars confiscated, businesses confiscated, bank accounts confiscated. I mean, it's been going on. But it's so much. I mean, it's going to take years to get a handle on it. They're only in certain states. They're not in every state.
There's too many liberal judges out there that they're just ruling on their feelings instead of what the law is. That's what it amounts to.
I think you're right. I think we've got a lot of that. Judges that are controlled, or they had an ideology and they got put in for that ideology of, we don't want people in jail. I don't care what they did.
Yeah, well, that's the big mistake.
Thank you, sir. Good luck to you. Let me know.
All right, I'll let you know. I'll let everybody know.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Black Cat. I wish him well. I hope he finds. I'm surprised there's no services available, because over the years I've heard of a lot of them that have done that, and it looks like some of them have dried up or gone, now not in business anymore. Getting back to this house fire, the people at the party said they were grilling when they heard the loud boom, and the fire's under investigation. We're not telling us exactly what happened, except when they heard the explosion involving a propane tank with everyone in, but but it wasn't the grill. It must have been somewhere around the grill area. They had a propane tank, an extra spare, maybe. Yuma Fire Department crew says there's a downed live power line in the area, which I don't know if that's connected or not. Don't know. Let me talk to Ted. Good morning, Ted.
Good morning, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well, man. Good morning.
Oh, one Anglo-Saxon to another. Could you you have the ability to find out what college Jasmine Crockett's family paid to get her to graduate?
Yeah, we can find that. It's been in articles a lot. I just don't remember. But she
I
went
don't
to an
either.
Ivy League, I think.
University of Heifer? Was that what it was?
No, it was a real one.
That is a real one. No, I tried to find it out. I couldn't get it to come up, man.
Rhodes College. She earned her Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration in 2003. Then Texas Southern University, attended Thurgood Marshall School of Law briefly before transferring. And then the University of Houston Law Center, earned a Juris Doctorate in 2006.
Yeah, I hope all of your listeners that can hear me, or you can turn them into me, call their representatives, and I don't mean these losers here in Arizona. I mean the ones up in D.C., the Speaker, Burchett's office, and complain to them about her calling white Anglo-Saxon American Christians racist murderers.
Yeah, she just
did
makes
it on TV.
She did it. Well, she did it on the floor, man. She's just crazy. It's just so outrageous. It's over the top outrageous. She's such a racist. And
I mean, she talks about the Ku Klux Klan being funded by whites. But let me tell you something. We're funding her radical, anti-American, race-stirring up comments on us, when she's supposed to be doing the work of the people.
I know. I don't know what they're going to do with her. I mean, she's not going to be an elected official by the first of the year. She's gone, but I don't think we've heard the last of her. She makes money being loud, obnoxious, and crazy. So,
well, I understand politics. I was raised in politics, all that stuff, whatever. Nixon, everybody. But this is beyond that. This has gone beyond typical adversarial politics.
Yes, I think it's ratcheted up to a point of it's unrecognizable. Yep.
It's illegal. It does violate some federal laws that she does, and the rest of them are saying.
I don't know what that would be.
Well, we had this talk about free speech, and there is free speech, but there are ramifications of some of it when you, especially when you're an elected official, being paid for by the taxpayer.
Yeah. It's not some crazy guy on the street mumbling to himself. It's somebody that's sitting in the House, a representative, saying it. It's kind
exactly. That has ramifications from other governments that are trying to circumvent our government from the inside.
Yeah.
She better go. They better call her out like I asked Burchett's office to talk to the Speaker, because I can't get calls back from anybody from here in Arizona. They're none of them. None of them answer their phones. None of them return their phone calls.
No.
Why have them?
No.
Take up space? Those offices needed space in them, so we put Kelly and the rest of them in there? What?
Do you call Kelly's office?
Repeatedly, all of them.
Really?
No answer back.
Wow.
Everybody else calls me back. The Speaker's office, Burchett's office, a couple other ones call me back. No problem. They have no problem with me.
Wow.
Nobody here in Arizona answers their phones.
You even try Gallego?
Yes.
All right. I mean,
I'm not lying to you guys. I'm not lying to you.
I haven't called them, but nothing I want to tell.
I got phone records. I keep all records of my phone calls to any public official, any of them.
I'm sure this guy in a black limo is going to come one day and take that from you.
I fix the engines in those cars.
Okay. All right. Well, keep calling.
So if they want to sit somewhere with no air conditioning all day, no problem.
Yeah.
I could give them air conditioning. I can take it away.
Yeah, you don't do that anymore. You don't have a wrench anymore.
I got plenty of wrenches.
All right.
You're one of my wrenches, my
Okay.
main tool.
All right.
Anyway, please call DC, complain to them about her and the rest of them's
what-
anti-racist
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to
comments,
do
man.
about it. I mean, Burchett can't do anything. Speaker
He
Johnson.
could call it. He could put them on the floor. He could call them out on the floor. He does do things.
I
Watch TV. You can
Yeah.
see him doing interviews.
I do see these guys being more calling out. I mean, it's gotten to the point of ridiculousness, though. Some of the stuff.
No, it's criminalistic, Russ. It's
You
not.
think it's criminal? I don't
ridiculous.
know if it's criminal. But
Yes, it's subversion.
what would you? All right, I don't know. I'd have
Go
to
back to the Second World War, start and move forward. Look at some of the laws that were passed for anti-subversion acts and stuff in this country by politicians and special interest groups and all, funded by special interest groups that have nothing to do with helping the United States, everything to destroy it.
Okay.
We need to go back to MacArthurism. Straight up. As bad as that was, maybe we need to go back to MacArthurism and have them all investigated.
I hope not. I hope not. But yeah, we do need to get civility back and this, victimization stuff all the time. I'm such a victim. I'm such a victim. It's gotten completely, comical.
I know. Thank you for listening.
Thank
to
you,
me.
buddy. Take care.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye. That was Mr. Ted. Yeah, and I think he does. He's on the phone. He's calling people. There's no question. Let me see. First responders competed in a charity flag football game. I'll tell you about it in a minute. Let me talk to Mad Mike. Hey, Mud.
So, previous caller to Ted,
Yeah.
I know he might not want to hear it, and it might not be budget friendly, but he can always call an Uber or Lyft, and they'll pick him up at his doorstep, drop him off, wait if it's something quick, come back and get him later. There is means. There's no reason to cancel appointment just because you're not getting subsidized government transportation for free.
Yeah, and that wasn't Ted. That was Black Cloud. But
The caller before Ted.
yeah, the caller before Ted. He was. I'm sure he's on a budget of some kind. I don't know.
I'm sure. Fixed income, senior citizen, I got it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, if he has an appointment that's needed and medically required, urgent, there's Uber and Lyft. And there's even taxis here in town.
Yeah.
And there's even the cartel that's gotten together a bunch of Uber and Lyft drivers trying to subvert Uber and Lyft. And they have their own, they pick them up, give them their business card, and next time they call them direct.
What?
They don't even use the app. Yes, there's a cartel. That's another call. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll even send you their business card. And they invited me to join for a while, but I didn't get along with them, so they finally voted me out.
I would think Uber would blackball you after that.
Oh, yeah. I even notified Uber, and they just said, there's really nothing we can do about it. The problem is, having your own transportation company is fine, but on their business card, they have the logos of both Uber and Lyft.
Oh, wow.
And so, and they'd pick up someone at the airport, drop them off at, casino? By Algodones.
Oh, down into Mexico, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Los
They drop
Algodones.
them off at the border there so they could walk across, go get their dental work done.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? You're not getting an Uber back from there because that's California.
Right,
Andrade is in California.
right.
You have to be certified by Uber to do Uber in California. So I get it. It's a service. You drop someone off there. Yeah, give me a call. We'll have a prearranged rate, and I'll come get you. But
It's,
I don't know.
it's outside the Uber system, so they're
Correct.
hijacking it a little bit.
I'd rather get into that call. That
Okay.
That's another day, even though you've distracted me quite a bit.
All right, buddy.
But I need to fact check both you and Ted.
What?
You keep saying, now I'm tongue tied. Ted said MacArthurism.
Oh,
Now,
McCarthy.
it's Joseph McCarthy.
It is
McCarthy.
Joseph McCarthy. Yeah.
McCarthyism we need to get back to, and I'll vote for that.
Well,
And go ahead.
I'm going to call Burchett's office and make him to take care of Ted then.
Whatever. Just, I'm your temporary, unauthorized sidekick fact checker.
No, I think we'll certify you as a fact checker. That's fine.
Dang it! There's another word you use constantly, and it drives me crazy.
What is it?
I can't remember.
Okay.
I'm all twisted up here, but if I remember, I'll
text me. Let me know what it is. I want to.
Because it's something to do with patriotism and.
Okay.
Dang it! It'll come to me.
It would not be unlike me to use something improperly, so let me know.
Oh no, I know. It's just you use it regularly, and it's a burr under my saddle.
Yeah.
I'll get you. I'll figure it out.
All right, man.
Next time you use it, at least. Before. All right, buddy. You
Thank
have
you.
a good day.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Bye.
As Mad Mike, making him mad this morning. I started talking about a charity flag football game. Now, Helen and I live right by the Catholic high school. So we know that on, football Fridays, we have fireworks in our backyard. I mean, when they make a touchdown or something, it's kind of like nuts. Or the graduation, they have fireworks, which I kind of enjoy it. I'm not complaining. I think awesome. We get little fireworks. Kids made a touchdown. We kind of celebrate with them. But just the other day, we had a bunch of really loud booms in the backyard. I thought, did my propane tank blow up or something? I didn't know what it was. And so it happened 2 or 3 times, and Helen and I are out in the backyard looking. We say, well, school's not even open right now. They couldn't be doing anything. Well, it probably was this. It was probably the charity flag football game between the Yuma firefighters and the police officers. The only thing I can figure out now. I didn't know about it at the time, but now I read and I said, well, that makes sense. They were over there at the Catholic high school. The event was organized by the Arizona Gunslingers Football Academy and Hunters Army, and brought the Yuma Fire Department and Yuma Police Department together. They say it was a friendly competition. That's the claim. It did help 2 local nonprofits. The Rhett Stallworth said that Arizona Gunslingers founder, and he's the founder. I didn't know that. He's also the principal over it, and he was a football coach forever. I think he's probably still keeps an eye on it. He said, I started thinking about the good old days when the firemen used to play the policemen. Yeah, that's right. They used to have, depending on where you were, boxing or football or whatever. There would be sports and stuff. He wanted to get it going, so they did football. And it provides football camps and scholarships for local athletes working towards playing at the next level. Hunters Army supports families in Yuma County battling childhood cancer. Said we naturally have a rivalry between police and fire, but it's rivalry of who can help the community the best. And they did keep score. I mean, it wasn't a woke thing. They actually kept score. Yuma Fire, they had a 24-0 lead by halftime. Yuma Police Department came back to it, but lost it 24-21. Flag football. Yeah, you still block and stuff, I think. I don't know. Somebody probably got bloody. Hunters Armies provided nearly $500,000 to local families facing childhood cancer. Meanwhile, Arizona Gunslingers continues to support young athletes through football training and scholarship opportunities. Good for them. So I don't care. Blow up the fireworks in my backyard. I'm good. I don't care. It's works out well. I know I'm running out of time, so there's some things I wanted to get to, and I'm looking for it. Oh, Caitlin Clark stuff. That wasn't it. I can't find it. Well, all right. Edward sent me this one. I don't know if it's the one I was looking for, but dangerous things inside your home, which I found interesting. His was a Wall Street Journal. I couldn't print that one, so I got a different article that was a similar subject matter about things that can injure you in your home, serious injury and death even. And it lists the most dangerous, which was a surprise to me. The most dangerous and the most likely to cause a problem. And some of it's age related. I mean, older people risk it, injuries of falling and slipping and stuff, and younger kids, I guess, injuries from jumping off beds. I don't know. They do similarly stupid things. The number one feature in your home that causes the most injuries and deaths is flooring. Flooring material, because you slip or fall, trip, slip, fall. So the average injury age is 58. I'm way above average. 58. And the deaths, and this one's a little older. It was the records go back to 2022, which was interesting in this article because it said there was a big increase in home injuries. Well, that was because of COVID. Everybody was at home and people working from home. So we have more injuries at home. And that's why I can't work from home. I can't work from home because there's a refrigerator at my house. You know, I'm more apt to eat something. But floors from slipping, serious injuries, 334,000. Deaths, 1,991. And I think that was in 2022. I didn't realize that just regular old floors. That's why we shouldn't have floors. I don't know how to age-proof these things, but it's older people slip and fall. Don't want to do it. It's dangerous when you're older and fall. More brittle. Less apt to catch yourself. Stairs or steps, which I would have figured was in there. Was right next, but it was, instead of 2,000 deaths, it's down to 700. Serious injury, 73,000 on stairs and steps. And I think people pay more attention to stairs and steps and hold guardrails and stuff like that. This article mentions that many more injuries and deaths and things come from slips, falls, this kind of stuff, not fires. And yet all houses mandatorily have smoke detectors. So I don't know what we mandatorily would have to stop the slips and falls. I don't know. But if we've got older people around, and I'm one of them, slips and falls start to count for big problems. More than I ever thought. Beds or bed frames. Beds. Actually, it's a few less injuries, but it's more deaths from beds or beds frames. And the average age is 49 on that because a lot of kids, I guess in cribs and stuff, beds and beds frames, some kids get in trouble on those kind of things, crawl into them. But a lot of people are falling and hit the bed frame, or people fall out of beds, particularly kids and stuff fall out of beds. 80,000 injuries of children under 2 that are linked to that kind of stuff, but we don't even think about it, that you need a trauma surgeon because of bed frames. Mad Mike probably fell. Let me see, because he's calling me. What's going on, sir?
I'll be quick. This is my third call.
Okay. All right.
It was your use of the word supremacist, as in white supremacist. If you're a supremacist, you'd be supreme. Supremacists are those that are white supremacists.
Well, I appreciate that.
Not supreme.
I will take a look at that. White supremacist. All right. Supremacist. All right.
All right.
I will correct that, Mike. Thank you, sir.
Sure you will.
All right. All right, buddy.
I ain't holding my breath, buddy.
All right, bye-bye. See you. Mr. Mike, white supremacist himself, probably. We'll see. Stairs, steps, and then bed frames. And then it gets down to bathtubs and showers. And I would have thought that would have been higher on the list. But again, we probably know that there's a big slip and fall problem with bathtubs, so we're more cautious. Maybe even have a handrail in there. I don't know. Still 335 deaths in the United States. Average age 51. See how these ages are older. It's not the children's, because they can survive it. Of course, I'm not talking total injuries. Total injuries just on the bathtubs was 431,000. Serious injuries, 42,000. And on the very first one, the most dangerous, which is floors, 2,135,399. Serious injuries on floors, 334,395. And that's because I think and I've fallen on floors before, just running, slipping, whatever. Don't pay attention. Usually more cautious around bathtub showers and stuff. So probably less. Tables, people falling, hitting their heads on the tables and stuff. 36 people died from that. 327, seriously. So be careful. You don't want to go to the hospital on that kind of stuff. Let me see. Tables created 327,000 hospital visits. So I'm sure at Yuma, we could ask, is anybody claimed that if they fell onto a table, then it'd be out? Chairs, another one, fall in a chair. About the same numbers. Except 94 people died because of chairs. I don't know, falling off chairs, falling on chairs, I don't know. Ceilings and walls, they said ceilings. I guess the kids jumping on the bed and hitting the ceilings or hitting a low ceiling, as well as the walls and all that kind of stuff. 102 people died, 293,000. Sofas, couches, Davenports, studio couches. Same as beds, falling on them and stuff. And then we get down to rugs, carpets, not specific, and that's loose carpets. We have throw rugs, 103 deaths. And then toilets. And I think that's just the same thing. It's tripping and falling. I don't think toilets explode. I think it trip and fall on them. When I worked in Tampa, Florida, operations manager of a large organization there, Napa Auto Parts, or, it's a genuine parts company I work for. We were a distribution center. We had a lady that threw her back out reaching for toilet paper and could not move. We had to call 911. They got the paramedics in to extract her. Yeah, that was an embarrassing moment, I'm sure. There you go. So be careful reaching for the toilet paper. Yeah. The list of the toilets, that is the oldest average age of people that get hurt by toilets. Of average age is 66 on the toilets. And it says toilets are a serious risk for older people. The average age of toilet-related injuries resulting in hospital visits is 66. It's the highest average. On one wheelchair user who fell off a toilet and found to have atrial fibrillation, a condition that caused dizziness and fainting. I had AFib. I didn't have any of the dizziness, but thankfully. As we age, there's a lot of changes to our body, our postures, our core, and our leg strengths changes. It makes it harder to do a controlled movement, to lower to the toilet, to get back up, especially with low toilets in older homes. So, yeah, I don't, going home is dangerous, I found out. It's a dangerous place. So be careful out there. I covered that one the other day, that Caitlin Clark, being accused of putting black and queer WNBA players in danger by flopping. Flopping meaning exaggerating injuries or something, like a soccer player would or something. But I don't think she does. I think she's really getting the crap beat out of her because they hate her. She's gotten so much attention, so many awards, so many records, so many everything, and it's just the older players in the league think that they should have been Caitlin, and they just beat the crap out of her. I think it's coming to an end. Hopefully, I think the commissioner for the NBA stepped in and probably did some stuff and said, "Look, just play basketball. Stop beating the crap out of her. There's better ways to do this." Chick-fil-A's had a security incident. I I didn't know how they could have a security incident, but they do, because somebody broke into their system and took all the customer loyalty accounts information. Customer loyalty accounts. And they want everyone to know if you are a loyalty account. And now they did not list Arizona on it. It's Iowa, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, Washington, D.C. That they could have stolen your name, your email address, and mobile payment numbers, the last four digits of payment cards, which is scary. So I imagine that's like an app where you can order from Chick-fil-A. And Chick-fil-A said it reset passwords for affected accounts, restored any impact of loyalty balances. I mean, apparently some of them may have been stolen, and added rewards to customer accounts, trying to make amends for this lax in security. But anything out there can be hacked at some point, and I'm guilty of putting stuff out there at times and joining some of these things where my credit cards are being used by companies, Amazon or something like that, which, if you buy from Amazon, you got to give them your credit card number. You got to give them some information. I guess if that stuff's hacked, and it just happened to Chick-fil-A, they got hacked, their security got hacked. And so if you're a customer, you may want to change your passwords or check with Chick-fil-A, but it did not mention Arizona as one of the affected states. But just be careful with it. Federal judges allow new Tennessee congressional map that splits minority black district in Memphis, and this is that gerrymandering thing. And the Supreme Court has already ruled that politically you can gerrymander. It's part of the United States. It's been since the very beginning, where these crazy states have gerrymanders all over the place. But back in the 60s, after Civil Rights Act, a lot of people inferred from that blacks needed their own districts, so they would make majority minority districts where it would be split up to where black populations would be in it, which would cause a lot of extra gerrymandering to do that, and it became like required to do it. Well, that's been thrown out the window. That's been saying, no, that should never have been the case. It shouldn't have been the case to begin. And we've got a lot of people, fainting and passing out over it, like people of color have lost all chance of any representation, which is just silly. It's just silly because it's never been about black to me. And I say that by observation, that Republicans that go to Congress can't join the Black Caucus. They're not black, because you got to be Democrat to join the Black Caucus. That's a fact. They won't let you in because you don't support black ideals, and black ideals are Democrat ideals. So it's all about party anyway. It starts coming down to ideology and party. It never was about black. We wouldn't have the problems that we have with Republicans that are black that don't get any of the benefits, like joining the Black Caucus or anything. And so it never has been. And but it keeps getting tested, which amazes me, because the Supreme Court comes out and says you can't do it. The Supreme Court comes out and says you can gerrymander along political lines, which are blind to sex, or blind to wokeism or conservatism, blind to race, nationality, anything else. It's about politics. That's it. You can do that. Well, other states say it's just not, they always challenge. Tennessee did it, just challenge it. Judicial panel has allowed Tennessee to use a new congressional map that splits apart a majority black district in Memphis. I guess they had set up a district in Memphis that was they did it like, what's your race? And they figure out, which seems highly illegal, but they've been doing it for years to make black districts. That kind of separatism and it's just, tribalism is crazy. But they had to go see a judge again. Well, the judge says, yeah, the Supreme Court was right. You can't do it. You could split the black district. Let's take a phone call. You're on the air, Gilbert.
Hey, Russ, you're making me laugh.
All right.
I'm finding some humor.
Okay.
You're giving me my material this morning.
All right.
Weren't you a member of the NAACP?
Yeah, I'm a graduate of a black college. It's HBCU, Historically Black College University, and joined the NAACP. Correct.
So isn't that we can fairly say that's a Democratic organization?
Oh my gosh, yes.
So you're able to join that, but a person can join the Black Caucus. Now, how crazy is that?
Well,
Or maybe I'm just uneducated.
a Republican black cannot join the Black Caucus in Congress, and we've got them in Congress that try to join the Black Caucus, and they say no, you can't be a member here. No black Republicans allowed in the Black Caucus.
Right. Now, see, there's one of those things that I can't understand how the Supreme Court can say, oh, it's okay, that's legit.
What? Oh, the Supreme Court has no control over the Black Caucus.
Oh, okay, I misunderstood what you just said.
No.
Okay.
What they say it's okay is in Tennessee to draw a congressional map where you split up the black district. It's a black district in Memphis. But what really surprises me is that the Supreme Court made that ruling months ago that, black districts are not required. You can't do them. You can't do a district based on race. But these states keep saying, yes, we can. And they have to get taken to court to make them stop.
And that's because of states' rights.
Well,
states
states do have rights as long as it's within the Constitution. Well, if the Supreme Court is saying for the country it's unconstitutional, then you can't do it. I don't care about states' rights. It doesn't matter.
So that's the line. That's the line that was drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that, but I was laughing when you were saying that a black man, a Republican, can't join the Black Caucus.
That's right.
A white man can join the NAACP.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. And not only that, this Memphis district that was all black in Memphis, they elected a white guy to represent them.
Yes. Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
But
why not? Because race doesn't matter anyway. It's ideology. It's politics. It matters. And that's what the Supreme Court says, man. You got to stop this race stuff.
Well, the bottom line is that Crockett, you said she'll make money. You're absolutely right, because if there's a narrative to be heard and people that want to hear it are going to pay for her and the Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons of the world. They are.
Right.
Same with Soros.
Well, particularly because they're high profile. They are people that have millions of people tagging onto their social media, so they'll get money from the Act Blues. They'll get money from the left because they're pushing the narrative of disruption and anti-American narrative that get us closer to communism. So they're going to get supported by all these Democrat Party donors and stuff. Yeah, she'll survive.
What I'm liking right now is a lot of these young men out in the street asking questions of young adults.
Yeah.
And getting the answers, and you're listening to them, and maybe because a lot of kids want to be on TV. Maybe they go home and look at what they had talked about and see how stupid they really are.
They're not,
especially when they can't answer the questions.
I don't know where they find these people, but they're real people, I think, and they really do ask.
They're real people.
They ask these college kids stuff, and college kids that really have their heads in the clouds because they don't understand our country. They don't know they don't know when the Civil War was fought or the Revolutionary War.
what I'm getting at is a lot of these kids are asked questions about ICE
Yes.
and how they feel about what's going on, and they go, "Well, you know how many people been killed by illegal aliens?" And all of a sudden, they get angry. These young people get angry
Of course.
because they were caught.
Well, it undermines their ideology of anti-police.
Exactly. So I'm glad that they're doing this. But anyway, I heard what you were saying. I'm going, I remember Russ being in an all black college,
Oh, yeah.
graduated from that,
Yeah.
and being with a AACP.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate the call, man. Thanks.
All right, later.
All right, bye-bye. Yeah, I went to I say all black college. It was historical at black college. Obviously, they let us white guys in, a few of us. No, anybody could. It was open enrollment. Anybody could join. But the population, if I were to guess, it would be 80%. It was 80% black at the school, maybe. The non-black population generally lived off campus. It wasn't. I tried to live on campus. I would have, except because I wanted to play football. And the only way I could play football is if I lived on campus. And the coach told me, I don't recommend it. He said you wouldn't do well. Because there weren't any white guys living in the dorms at all, which no big deal. I mean, I didn't get upset about it. It was fine, but I wasn't that good a football player. I just wanted to be on the team. But I never did make that in college. I was a good student, though. I was a good student. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. And that was in Dover, Delaware, the black school. Well, I've run out of time again. It happens every day. It's been 3 hours. It's 9 o'clock. I've got to run. I got to go to work now. Thanks for listening. Mortgage One Studios. I'm Russ Clark. I'll see you on Tuesday. That's tomorrow.